You ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're gonna tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Good morning. Welcome.
Morning.
To a.
You didn't run over anybody today,
we're 2 seconds into the broadcast. We already have a spilt beverage. It's the iced tea.
Am I going to get
already making
electrocuted?
Brian nervous.
Yeah, the one without the lid.
Am I going to get nervous here? I mean, electrocuted here because I really don't.
Yeah,
That or your
Brian,
computer could fry. Or...
I don't. I had an ex-girlfriend describe me once as a bull in a china shop. If it can be broken, I'm gonna break it.
Yeah.
And I'm very clumsy, and I spill things, and I think Brian has learned that. When he saw me walk in with 2 giant iced teas, I think he thought that's gonna be problems. And sure enough, it has become a problem. Now Bonnie, being the woman in the group.
Wow,
has sprung to clean the mess.
Well, here's the deal.
Now, I just want to say that was not, no one ordered her to.
No.
It's just her natural instinct
Yeah.
to start cleaning.
No, this is what would have happened had you or I tried to do anything. First of all, we would have knocked over the chair, then ripped out the cords as we tried to run away with our headsets on. When we came back, we'd have spilled the other 2 drinks and actually real live electrocuted ourselves. That would have been the result, Dan.
I'm just bummed I had it on the wrong camera when that happened.
My goodness.
You should have seen Dan's face. It was quite pleasant.
It's
a great way to start your day, frankly. Just complete, total disgust. Here we go again.
You missed a spot, Bonnie.
Nothing but up from here.
Yeah, nothing but up.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast. I cannot vouch for it today. It's going to be wild. We've got going to be exciting. Anything can happen. Glenn's with us. Bonnie's with us. Brian's with us. We're all here. We're all excited, ready to go. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, KOAN, KVNT, and we're streaming live on danfagan.us. Our number, 569-1080. Love to hear from you this morning. Oh, look at this woman. Come on.
What?
She goes and gets
Stop
me
it.
a whole new thing of ice, and now I can get my tea going.
If you spill this.
Now who's the kiss up?
Woo!
You are.
Man.
Thank you very much.
I would buy him one of those reusable bottles that has a lid on it, but
Yeah.
I know you wouldn't use it.
Wouldn't use it, or I'd break it, or I'd lose it.
Yeah, you'd just bring in a
Lid
paper
gone.
cup the next day.
Yeah.
Lidless the next
and
day.
never see it again.
Yeah, he'd be like, thanks, and then throw it away.
Well, it's good to be here this morning. Are you folks having fun doing the broadcast?
No,
No, not really.
No, it's pain.
It's a chore.
I am today.
It's a grind.
I like it.
Yeah, I know you do.
I love actually getting up early and then going home and sleeping the rest of the day.
That must be nice.
Is that what you do now?
That must be nice.
Well, unless I have the night job.
Well, you've got 9 jobs. I don't see how you could possibly.
About 3 or 4 days a week, I do a second job too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are days where I just want to call it.
Actually, I gave my first
Call it in.
Call it in. Yeah.
Phone a
first
friend.
Uber ride last night.
You did.
What?
Yeah.
You were an Uber driver.
Yeah, I
last night.
signed up.
Did you assault them?
No,
Did
but
you
I
crash
thought about
into
it.
something?
I did
you
think
did
about
think
it.
about
Well,
it.
tell us
something, though.
about your experience.
All right.
I went through the process of signing up, which is a background check, and they
And you
verify.
passed that?
Yeah,
Oh,
That's surprising.
I know.
All right.
They verify of your insurance and
Right.
your license and everything. And anyhow, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it, and I set it up. I was gonna go down by the hospital,
Okay.
and I got a call from UAA. So I went over there and picked up a guy, brought him back to.
So wait, tell me about the call. It said, "Hey, this is Joe. I'm
No,
calling for-"
actually, it's just it beeps on the phone.
Okay.
You have the app open,
Okay.
and you get a beep, and you have a choice to accept it, say yes,
there's
and
no
it gives
phone
you
call?
directions where it goes. And then on the way there, the guy texted me, said I'll be in front of the garage.
No, wait a minute now. So did you know where you were going to take this guy before you left?
I think there's a way. I just went. I didn't
Okay.
stop to look at the phone and try
Okay.
to see all
And
the
what were
little
you?
things.
What were you doing at the time?
I was looking for a ride. I was out fishing.
No, you were looking for riders to pick up.
Riders.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got the beep.
Yep.
You
it
drove
was a
to
minute
UAA.
away, and I went to UAA. And on the way there, I saw a lady hit a guy on a bike
Oh no!
right in front of the hospital. It was awesome.
Did you?
I just about turned on my dash cam right before that, and
Oh
I
my
didn't.
Did you stop and tell them that you witnessed it?
10 people pulled over.
Okay, so
they were
everybody
right in
saw it.
front of the emergency room.
Okay,
Yeah, literally,
okay.
I was like, okay.
All right, so you go to the guy.
I picked him up. I
Yeah.
took him back. I saw
Well,
the address. It was out.
Tell us about the guy. Was he nice? Was he?
Yeah, he was a college student.
Okay.
Probably early 20s.
Right.
And I think he must have lived at home out at Huffman area.
Okay.
So I drove him that way.
You drove him all the way to Huffman.
Yep.
And then it was free for him.
Yeah. And
But he tipped you, obviously.
no, you're not supposed to do that. No cash ever changes hands.
Oh, you're
between the
not allowed to
driver.
tip.
It's all
You
electronic.
can, but it's all electronic. But since you're riding for free right now, or
Okay.
they were.
Okay.
And
so
he was a college student.
Yeah, and he knew about it. He's like, yeah, more students would take advantage of it if they knew.
Wow. What a good guy. What a good deal for the kid. Now, what do you get paid for that?
It said $28.75.
Okay. Then how do they pay you?
It automatically gets transferred into my bank account.
Has it been there?
Well, it just happened last night. I didn't look.
When will they normally transfer
I
it?
thought it said a couple of days, and I do believe they
Wow.
take out the taxes and everything.
So for $28.75, what did it take you? 20 minutes?
And it was only because of all the traffic.
And did you have any more riders?
I hung it up for the night,
So you could have.
celebrated,
Did you have any?
ran home and
Celebrated.
spiked the football. Yeah.
Spit your 20.
Oh yeah, I survived it. I
Yeah.
survived Uber.
wouldn't
You should
spit
get a little
$50
of the
on a new
bumper
hat.
sticker. I survived Uber.
Yeah.
So how many do you think you could have gotten if you would have just sat there and?
Probably a lot.
Wow, what a win-win for everybody.
And you remember the very first thing he said was, "I was a minute away."
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's probably got a nice car. So it was probably a nice
He
ride.
just bought it.
Yeah.
Now, what happens? How do they know, Brian? Because let's say there's some Uber driver who's in, I don't know, Bootlegger's Cove, and you're a minute away from this guy. What if that guy decides to accept it? Do they give priority to closer people?
It's based on whoever's the closest according to them on their little map. So there might be several cars driving around, and I saw generally there's a bunch downtown and some
Okay.
here around there, but whoever's closest, they get the chance to accept it. If they don't, it goes to the next closest.
And have you talked to any other Uber drivers?
No, I don't want to.
Now the Uber, well, you could if you wanted to, though.
Do you not like
I don't
Uber
know, I'm
drivers,
kinda
Brian?
I'm kind of shy.
So, but you could.
I wouldn't know what to say.
But I mean, is there like a chat room where you can talk to other Uber drivers?
Probably. I'm just
What
not
would you
that
say to
social.
another Uber driver? I mean, what
How's
kind of
it
things?
going?
How's it going? Okay, that's not too dangerous.
So Uber gave you $28, and they don't recoup that.
Not under this standard they're using right
They
now.
will
with the
now
free
because
rides,
it was
But it's
passed
going to be
last
a
night.
while.
Oh yeah, not yet. No,
Yeah,
they
they've
still
gotta
got
come up-
negotiations and yeah.
Yeah, but right now, I mean, I heard on the radio this morning.
Well, you know
that
what I'm
they're
gonna do Friday?
temporarily letting them
You gonna get the app?
get
I'm
payment.
going to sit there, and I'm going to keep requesting rides till I get Brian. I'll just keep going all around town.
Follow him around and then ask him. It won't be creepy.
Now, is that illegal? Because you could get your friends to pick you. You could just take your friends.
Boy, I would never do something like
Take
I
your
know.
friends back and forth. He'd have to have a
Honestly.
three-way.
But seriously, how does Uber combat that? I mean, a guy
that.
could
They
do
probably see a pattern. Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
We've transferred $4,700,000 into
Yeah.
Brian's account.
That
because
is
you're always in
strange.
front of that
Let me
guy's
tell you
house.
something, ladies and gentlemen. That which Brian just described, that's what America's all about.
That's right.
614. Brian just described, that's what America's all about.
That's right.
614.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM. Oh, yeah, it's game day. I love football. He could go all the way. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown. Man, that's why I love football. There's nothing better. Well, except maybe free buffalo wings from Sicily's. Call 333-8000 right now and ask for free buffalo wings. Buy any extra large 2-topping pizza at regular price and get 10 free buffalo wings. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Enjoy hot, fresh pizza and Italian food. Call 333-8000 or order online at sicilyspizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. Join us downtown for a family tradition at the AT&T Holiday Tree Lighting Ceremony on Friday, November 29th at 5:45 p.m. in Town Square. Enjoy free cookies, hot cocoa, music, carolers, and more. Celebrate with Santa as he leads his team of reindeer into Town Square to light the tree on this magical evening. You can be a part of the magic and we'll have a chance to meet Santa. Take a photo and tell him what you have on your Christmas list. Holiday Tree Lighting Ceremony is also downtown's kickoff event for Small Business Saturday, a nationwide event that brings awareness to shop at small businesses on November 29th. Grab Shop Small totes with
income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
I don't want to get into it on the air again, so don't listen if you're at home. But you got it, and it's self-explanatory. Are you a little confused that Glenn doesn't get it?
I was yesterday.
But you're not now?
No. I mean, he says he's got it.
No, he says he doesn't have it.
He says he has a better...
No, I say that the reason that the guy gave is absolutely not why he likes Obamacare.
Well, I did have to go back and watch it.
It gives him a competitive advantage.
Yeah. The way you explained it with the Walmart employees was way better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but you get it.
So vague.
The fact that now there's this work pool that wouldn't have been available because so many people were, as Obamacare itself, the designer said, were chained to their job.
Oh, I get that a socialistic thing like Obamacare is great for businesses.
Yeah, but we're not talking about it with it's good. Never mind.
No, I get it.
You do. But there's a confusion that he doesn't get it. Come on now, be honest.
He's just such a deep thinker. He thought that there was more to it than that. It's not that simple. It can't be that simple.
But it is that simple, isn't it?
It is.
Thank you.
But I don't know what.
No, that's true. Glenn is so deep with his thinking. Sometimes it's simplistic.
Yes.
It's like the genius who's could create incredible things, but he doesn't understand the concept of a pencil, kind of thing.
Well, and like he went home and obviously thought about it and came up with even more of a explanation.
Yeah, I do believe I understand why the CEO likes Obamacare at this point.
And that actually probably is more of a reason.
That is 100%. I'll guarantee it right now. It gives him a competitive advantage. That's the only reason he likes. The only reason he gave.
So he's lying.
Yes, he's absolutely 100% lying. He has not seen an increase in his driver pool at all.
So we don't report what we know. We report what we expect.
That's the truth.
All right.
People can look, if you can make $28 in 20 minutes or whatever, obviously people are going to make time in their lives for that, regardless of whatever their healthcare situation is at some other job.
Right.
That's my view.
I think that it'll be good for the cab drivers, the taxi cab drivers who will become Uber drivers instead. I think it'll be good for them. Because even if they did have insurance coming, health insurance premiums coming out of their...
What would be good for them, Obamacare?
Yeah, because even if they did have the premiums coming out of their check before, now they won't. And somebody else will be subsidizing it.
So when the Obamacare people said one of the beauties of Obamacare is that you will no longer be chained to your job, meaning that a lot of people work where they work solely because of the health insurance. You don't believe that that's true. You don't think there's anyone in America who, because of Obamacare, decided, I'm not going to be chained to this job I hate anymore because I don't need health care anymore because Mr. Obama gave it to me.
I don't know. If they did try to make that leap, and what they found then when they got into Obamacare is probably not what they thought. Okay. So yeah, I think that might have been one of the sales pitches, but I don't think it's true. And my guess is most everybody who tried to go out into the exchange and get, quote, reasonably cost health care and separate themselves from the job. What I've heard, by the way, is more people are staying with their work than leaving because they don't want to be thrown into these exchanges because these exchanges are extremely unfair. So that's what I'm finding.
Well, I thought it was really astute of you to even bring that up, though, because there's a lot of things that they said to sell this to us and to pitch this to us that now is coming back to make sense, like that. Yeah. Because at the time when they said you won't be... who knew what that meant even? Change your job, and now it's all becoming clear.
Yeah. Divorcing healthcare from an employer was definitely going to be one of the effects of this, because it's so much cheaper just to throw people to the wolves, throw them onto the exchange system, than provide healthcare. Now you get penalized for that, by the way. $95 last year, 1% of people's pay this year, 2%.
Is it 2%?
2% next year, 2.5% is where they're going to go. So you're going to be paying in order to throw your employees onto the healthcare wolves at the.
So 2015 is 2%.
That's my understanding. Well, I think 2016 is 2%, and 2.5% is where it ends up in 2018 or something like that. I don't know. The implementation of this law is amazing.
Hopefully, it won't be here anymore.
And that's of your income, right?
It's a fine or 2% of your income, whichever is greater.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Great.
But anyway, I think the reason the Uber guy likes it is not because he has a larger pool. It's because it gives him a competitive advantage in the marketplace, because he doesn't have to pay any penalty, and the cab companies will. If the cab companies don't offer health insurance, they will end up being penalized for every person who would drive one of their cabs.
If the cab companies are... A lot of the cab companies, the people who drive for Yellow Cab are not employees of Yellow Cab. They actually pay Yellow Cab for the dispatch. So they're
subcontractors.
No, they're not even that. Yellow Cab is a customer of the cab driver, because the cab driver gets access to calls.
So there's no employer-employee relationship there at all. That's a smart way to go.
You hire Yellow Cab, but that shoots down your theory.
That's a smart way to go.
Are you going to admit that, or are you just going to move on?
Well, I'm slow it down for me here.
Okay.
How does
the guy who is owns Yellow Cab, he's a dispatcher.
Yeah.
He has a couple of employees.
The Uber's not competing with other cab companies. I think this is where people are confused, and he's not talking about other cab companies. He's talking about all employees and all employers across the entire spectrum. A cab company is like 1/1000th of 1% of the entire population of the United States. Uber drivers can be anyone. They don't have to be cab drivers. He's not competing with cab driver companies. He's competing with all employees across the entire spectrum, 80-some% of which get insurance from their employer. He doesn't have to pay that. It's a competitive advantage.
It's a competitive advantage against other companies,
yes.
Not cab companies.
Maybe having nothing to do with cab companies. I'm just saying.
Your example just now was he has a competitive advantage over cab companies.
He has a competitive advantage over all other employers, because other employers...
But your example just now was he had an advantage over cab companies.
Okay. Well,
is that wrong?
If a cab company here does not have employees, or any employer, we may be going away from just the employer-employee relationship.
Okay, but you just said...
Like Uber is.
He had a competitive advantage over other cab companies.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mean over other cab companies, and I didn't know that I said that. I said he has a competitive advantage. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Did I say over other cab companies? I never said over cab companies. Yeah, he has a competitive advantage over all employers. That's what I said. If I didn't say that, that's what I meant. Not having to pay the Obamacare tax gives you a competitive advantage over all other employers who do.
That makes sense.
And that's why I think he likes it. That's my guess.
But don't you think that if Obamacare is revealed in its full glory, that we won't really have employees anymore? We'll have subcontractors. We'll have businesses with less than 50 people.
Yeah.
So then how's the competitive advantage there?
Well, at present, he's got a competitive advantage. It may go away. Yeah. It may go away.
The marketplace will adopt Obamacare.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll adapt that much. That would be really surprising, because right now, like, Vico's got 2,600 employees. Is Vico going to go to a
2,600 subcontractors? Why not?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Why not?
My guess is it'd be really awful to try and manage that. Just a guess.
Well, how would it be different?
Well, first of all, a lot of employees want benefits from their employer, and so
no one's going to offer them.
They're going to be
everybody's going to the government.
In 10, 20, 30 years, that may be true.
4 years. Everybody's going to go to the government for health insurance.
Maybe.
So the idea that you're going to go work for a company as an employee because you want benefits, that's no more.
Yeah.
That's what Obamacare's designed.
That may go away. I agree.
It's single payer, government run. Doctor works for the government.
Right.
Healthcare.
Yeah, where they tax you for actually giving out decent benefits if you give too much of them.
They punish the business.
Right, and then they reward you if you throw your employees to the wolves.
Exactly.
With a small.
So how does this give the Uber guy a competitive advantage?
It gives him a competitive advantage right now because he pays 0, and other people will pay $95, then 1%, then 2%, then 2.5%.
If you're a CEO of a company, how long is it going to take you to figure out that you can't afford this Obamacare nonsense? 6 months, a quarter, business quarter, a year maybe?
I don't know.
That's why single payer is starting to sound better to some people.
Yeah.
Well, it's always been the design. Obama has said it in the past prior to his running for presidency. You know, and of course when he ran against Hillary, he said, no, I'm not for single payer.
Yeah.
But that was his design the whole time.
Single payer is going to be interesting. And by the way, it didn't break Canada. Canada's doing fairly well, at least economically. But
their people pay such high taxes.
Well, I don't think I don't know. I'm not sure that they pay higher taxes than we do.
Well, where does the money come from then?
Well, they have a great resource base, which they go out and develop. Their trees, they harvest their trees, they harvest their oil, they mine like crazy. I mean, they're really tied into the land and making sure they get the maximum value.
The difference between Canada and the United States is that their welfare state is a minuscule portion of ours.
Now, why is that? Isn't that the deepest question ever? I think it's because Democrats have created so many victims here that people feel entitled to take from their neighbor here. And in Canada, they just have a stronger culture that says, you know what, you're going to get health care, but you better go to work. And they try and figure out how to make sure everybody goes to work. I don't know.
Well, their population isn't as large either, right?
Yeah,
it's a 20 million, 25 million.
The thing that's breaking the United States of America right now is the welfare state, the entitlement culture. It's breaking us. And the more immigrants we allow in, the larger the entitlement culture and the welfare state grows. And so it's hard to compare the United States, even with Europe. You know, in Europe, they've got they're much like Canada. And to be honest with you, a lot of it's the ethnic makeup of Canada.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
there's very, very few
minorities or immigrants.
Right, and the same thing with most of Europe.
No, Europe's ethnic population is skyrocketing.
Well, some parts yes, some parts no.
I would say Canada's is too.
Yeah.
Because they're letting in anybody. Literally, they just let
Nobody
in.
wants to go to Canada. It's too cold. Hey, I drove through British Columbia to get here, and it was one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Oh,
of course, it was gorgeous. June.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a gallon of milk in Canada costs like $9. Like in Vancouver.
Liter.
They would always come to, you know, across the border, 30,000 at just one port every day.
Wow.
Down there in Blaine, and so
to buy milk.
A lot of them to buy milk because a lot of them are Middle Eastern and you know, or Indian.
Well, the gas was ridiculous.
Oh man, yeah. You should have seen the line at Costco.
Yeah. There's one big difference, by the way, between Canada and the United States, and that is they can have public health care workers as public employees.
Well, they also came across the border for
Canada
health.
Can. In other words, everybody who works for their health ministry is a public employee, and our doctors and our nurses generally aren't.
That's who I want, a government worker being my doctor. Well, it'll be there soon.
It's a lot cheaper, though, huh?
569 569-1080. Glenn's with us for the first hour. You're going to RDC this morning, huh?
Yeah, Resource Development
You going to give us a report tomorrow? What
Absolutely. Yeah.
I may run over there for lunch. Who's speaking at lunch, you know?
I got to pull up the... I'll pull up the...
Okay. 569-1080. Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie. Stay with us. Stay with us.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Anchorage police IDing the man found hanging from a tree in the downtown area last week is former Iditarod musher Dario Martinez. He ran the race in 1999 under the name Dario Daniels and finished 40th. In more recent years, he operated a kennel in Girdwood. Recently had malnourished dogs removed from its premises. Local police were asking to hear from anyone who knows how they can contact Martinez's family who live outside the country. Nearly 300 Alaska-based soldiers are returning home After deployments to Afghanistan, they represent 3 different units and are reuniting with family and friends in ceremonies at Fort Wainwright, the Joint Base Elmwood Richardson. Finally, the so-called underwear bandit is under arrest in Kodiak. Police say they believe 18-year-old Ryan Cornelio is the man who's been entering local homes and stealing women's underwear. Well, the alleged bandit is named Cornelio. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Today will be mostly sunny with a high 38, then tonight partly cloudy, low 24. Sun and some clouds throughout the day tomorrow with a high 34 and low tomorrow night of 25. Friday partial sunshine, high 36, then partly sunny Saturday with a high 33. Sunday clouds and sunshine, high 32. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Oh, yeah, it's game day. I love football. He could go all the way. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown. Man, that's why I love football. There's nothing better. Well, except maybe free buffalo wings from Sicily's. Call 333-8000 right now and ask for free buffalo wings. Buy any extra large 2-topping pizza at regular price and get 10 free buffalo wings. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Enjoy hot, fresh pizza and Italian food. Call 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Alaska Integrated Media, the owner of this station, is looking to fill 3 positions. First, we have an opening for a receptionist traffic assistant. This is a part-time job, but into full-time. Pay depends on experience. We're looking for someone with a great personality, someone who likes to greet the public, and has experience with phone systems. We also have an opportunity in our advertising sales department, where you can earn above-average income, work with small business owners and operators to assist them with their advertising needs, and work on promotions. If you have any type of outside or inside sales experience, or you've worked in the hospitality industry, this could be a great position for you. Next, our programming department has a rare opening. We're looking for Alaska's next great talent, with opportunities for part and full-time DJs and on-air personalities. Check out our website, alaskaim.com, or call 522-1018 to apply. Alaska Integrated Media is an equal opportunity employer. Minority applicants are encouraged to apply.
Trail Boss Solutions is an Alaskan-owned, nationally recognized top 500 construction and remodel firm. With our award-winning kitchen designs and remodels, Trail Boss Solutions is fully licensed, bonded, and insured, and has the experienced professionals to take your project from initial design through completion, on time and on budget. Please visit us on the web at trailboss-solutions.com or contact Trail Boss Solutions direct at 646-1403.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads.
You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. Hot Talk, KOAN, man. On with 10KOAN.com.
6:35. Dan Fagan here. Glen Biegel right over there. He's got a green shirt on. And here's Bonnie Cameron, who I don't know what that contraption is called. 569-1080 is the number.
Fancy?
KOAN, KVNT. Glad you're here. We're talking about this. There's a rumor going around town that Joe Miller, Bonnie's hero and idol, which I guess would mean that by default, Sarah Palin's your hero and idol because that's Joe Miller's hero and idol, right? Doesn't that just make sense? If my hero's, like Dan Sullivan, the Senate candidate, whoever his hero would by default become my hero.
No,
so Joe Miller apparently is going to begin to, and I don't know that it's officially official. Is it officially official, Brian?
It's as official
I haven't
as my
seen a
Facebook
memo,
page.
But I necessarily wouldn't
It's
get
as
one.
official as my Facebook page.
Oh, does it say it on your Facebook page?
Yes, it does.
What does it say?
It says Hot Talk Radio, 1080 or 95.1 FM. 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Host Michael Chambers, co-host
No,
Terrence Shinnigan, blah, blah, blah. Our
He's
guest
just a
tomorrow,
guest.
Governor-elect Bill Walker.
No, that's all.
This is his first radio owner, Joe Miller. Frank conversation going forward.
No, I'm not talking about his appearance on the Eddie Burke show today.
Oh.
I'm talking about apparently.
Oh, doing a show.
Yeah, he's going to host a show here on KOAN.
Oh, wow.
From 2 to 3 hours. So it'd be what, 1 to 4?
Eddie comes on at 4.
Yeah, so he's going to be on for 3 hours, right?
Wow, that's a long time. Solo.
Flying solo. I did a 3-hour talk show for a while. You did one too.
Was it fun?
I do one now. What are you talking about?
No, by yourself.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah, Sharon.
You had really good co-hosts. For me, it was more by myself.
That would be rough.
I did a 3-hour talk show in California.
Doesn't he live in Fairbanks?
Yeah, they're going to do it with you can do a radio show anywhere today.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And certain people do.
Yeah, I was wondering, can I do this from home?
You can do it from Spokane.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
But when I was in Reading, I not only did a 3-hour talk show, I did it not knowing anybody, not knowing the mayor. I just little didn't know anybody.
How did you do that?
That was not easy. That was not easy. I'd go to the city council meetings and I'd get as many politicians on there. Well, I will say this. I wasn't on the air that long. It was 6 months. But you do. 6 months after being on the air, I knew more about Northern California politics than the average Northern Californian because you parade all these guests in and you ask them questions and then all of a sudden you're an expert. So it doesn't take that long to get up to speed. But I will tell you, the process of getting up to speed, it is no fun.
When you were there, did you ask or say a lot? When I was in Alaska, this.
No,
when I was in Alaska, that.
Not really.
Well, and you have years of journalism experience.
Yeah, I suppose, but
yeah.
Still, when you got 3 hours ahead, and we didn't get a lot of phone calls at the beginning, we started to get some, but it was not easy.
I'd actually love to listen to Joe Miller for 3 hours.
Every day?
I think I would tune in for that. Actually, I'll make it part of homeschool. My kids will probably learn something.
There you go.
And those kids are not.
Bonnie's family's like, "Where's
chance.
Mommy?" Oh, she listens to the radio for 6 hours a day.
Those kids have no chance. They're going to be interviewing her son when he's 35 and being featured on Dateline as the world's most famous serial killer.
Hey, when the country goes down, we're going to need a lot of Joe Millers. So.
And the reporter's going to ask Bonnie's son, "What went wrong?" She said, "My mom used to make me listen to Joe Miller for 3 hours every day."
Now, what do you guys think the hardest thing for him to do is going to be? What's going to be the most difficult thing for Joe to do for 3 hours?
As someone who's not blind, when I look at Joe Miller, I see him objectively.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's someone here like that, but he's a brilliant man.
Oh yeah,
he's intelligent. He's got a sharp mind. I just don't think people like lecturing now. Broadcasting is not about lecturing. It's about talking. It's about exchanging ideas. That's what I love about this show. We don't lecture here. We all just kind of talk, and we get our viewpoints in. We let the callers call in, 569-1080, by the way. And if he gets up there and literally just lectures about the Constitution for 3 straight hours, other than Bonnie and her kids, I don't know that anybody's going to listen to that.
I think I was going to agree with that. I think his biggest challenge will be asking questions of other people.
Learning.
He's so used to being asked the questions
yes.
And lecturing. Like
and he can't just get Matt Johnson on as his guest.
Well, and then there's day 2.
That is it, right.
What now?
That's it.
But you can't just get Tea Party folks on there and they just talk about how wonderful they are. He's got to get Les Gare on there, and he's got to get other people who, if he starts,
that would be good.
Yeah, if you start engaging them in a conversation, he's a smart man.
My guess is, by the way, what he's going to do is not get Les Gare on, but get Republicans who are in the House and Senate on,
and hold them accountable.
Probably argue with them. Well, see, here's the problem, Bonnie, with that. Our human beings' approach to that. They are actually legislating in Juneau, and we're not. And that's very difficult for people to accept or understand. So, I don't know. My guess is, my thought is the most difficult part for him is to open himself up, because talk radio is about all of life, and a lot of life is laughing, and it's enjoying yourself, and it's learning new things, and trying to figure things out.
Authenticity is important.
So, I mean, if it gets to be where it's, it doesn't have life. Talk radio has to have life in it.
So what does that mean, that they're legislating in Juneau? And that's...
Well, he can speak from a theoretical viewpoint, and when we look at what goes on down in Juneau and say, well, this is exactly what I want you to do, and they say, well, I came as close to that as I could.
Practicality.
Here was the process that we went through. I got as many people to come along with me as I could, but frankly, I'm not a dictator, and I don't run things.
Right.
So I'm one legislator, and I did the best I could, and people should trust that I'm doing the best that I can.
That's a brilliant point, and what he's saying.
That will not be good enough for him.
No. It is difficult when there's
lobbyists. That's what I worry, because...
No.
Well, it's not lobbyists.
Yeah.
The fact is, there are a bunch of Republicans who don't agree with us, right? And there are a whole bunch of Democrats who don't agree with us at all. And then there's a whole bunch of people who come from Bethel, and they come from Nome, and they come from all these different parts of the state that say, if you don't, we'll call you a racist. We'll tell people that you're evil.
And the media will back
We will
up.
sully your name. We will tell them exactly what you just told us, which is you're going to have to do that from your local community. We cannot help you, and we are going to make you look like crap.
Yep.
So, but if you strip away all that humanity that goes on in the process of trying to figure out how to legislate, you end up with a very dry, and I'm not saying it's bad, by the way, that there are people who are sticklers for trying to make sure that people do the best job that they can.
Right.
And that there are people like us who can disagree. We want you to do an even better job. We want you to push harder for school choice. We want you to push harder for the things that we believe in. We're important too. And it's not like we don't count. But at the end of the day, there's a reality for what goes on in Juneau, and a lot of people just don't care about that. And so it's hard for those two people to come together. That's
just as Gruber said, the lack of transparency is a major political advantage. Having never governed, living only in theory, is a major political advantage. Not having to deal with people and knowing the only way your agenda will get done is if you compromise. That's the practicality of politics. That's what the founding fathers wanted. And the problem with the Joe Millers and the movement that you so embrace, Bonnie, is that you see your rigid beliefs and you want them followed 100%, and anybody who compromises anything, even an inch, they're a bad guy. But in reality, that person who compromised may very well want what you want as bad as you wanted, but they fully understand the process. And the process is, in politics, sometimes you've got to give a little to get a little. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, stay with us. We'll be right back. Time currently 6:44. Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie, stay with us. We'll be right back. Time currently 6:44.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
You know what was the #1 gift Alaskans sent to their relatives for Christmas last year? Well, if you said Alaska King Crab, you're right on. Last year, New Sagaya sent over 20,000 pounds of king crab to Alaskan friends and relatives outside. That's more than 10 tons. New Sagaya makes it so easy. For just $165, New Sagaya sends 5 pounds of extra large golden king crab legs anywhere in the continental United States. And that includes UPS next day air delivery. And New Sagaya does it right for you. The big crab legs and claws all boxed in a styrofoam box with dry ice and gel ice. It's guaranteed to arrive in perfect condition. But you'll want to avoid the rush as much as you can, so call right now. New Sagaya will program your delivery for whatever day you specify. Just call 1-800-764-1001. The King Crab Festival for just $165. From New Sagaya, 1-800-764-1001. Or order on the web from newsagaya.com.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win stuff. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out moviesacre.com. It's showtime.
Hey, if you think all you need to know about beer is how to pop the top off the can, go to worldclassbeer.com. There's a whole world of beer out there, and worldclassbeer.com can help you navigate it. Learn the difference between an ale and a lager at Beer U. Get descriptions of all the craft beers and learn why they're so different. And when you see one you'd like to try, the Beer Spy Locator can direct you to the closest store. Worldclassbeer.com, designed to help you get closer to your beer. Brought to you by the Odom Corporation. Always drink responsibly.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080.
647, Fagan, Biegel, Bonnie, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. I've got so much I want to talk about today, but Glen's leaving it, so I want to.
You got 15 minutes left for.
I know.
So what do you want to talk about?
I know. So I'm actually thinking, what do I want to say? I want to say the best stuff because I love getting your take on stuff I want to talk about. And I learned a lot yesterday. I did a lot of talking to people yesterday, but I'm going to save that. I may save it for a later time.
Well, I'd like to respond to what you guys were saying about actually going to Juneau.
Well, just for those who just joined us, by the way, Fagan, Biegel in the morning, KOAN, KVNT, was streaming live, danfagan.us. By the way, there's a consultant, Brian, that Robbins deals with here, the owner of the station. And he sent him he watched the video portion. Did you see this? Did he show you this?
I didn't see anything, but I've heard of John Lund.
Oh, that's the consultant. He was blown away by the video.
Wow.
And he says, "Why don't you guys promote that every 3 minutes?" He says it's the best he's ever seen, and that's your creation.
Well, I don't think I deserve all the credit for that.
I think you do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was really. He says we need to promote that, and so. Just to I'll give Bonnie the floor in a minute here, but yes, we are streaming live, danfagan.us, and it is an amazing product that looks as good as anything on television. So check it out. And you can also go watch it during the day, and you can do that on danfagan.us, just where there's when you say the video stream, it'll take you to the link that shows you where to go and watch the show every day if you miss it during the morning. All right, so we're talking about Joe Miller possibly hosting a show. We probably need to tell Bethany Markham it's not official.
Well, it sounds like it.
No, I don't think. Brian, is it official?
I don't know if we'll even get the memo until weeks after it is official.
Yeah, that's probably
who knows.
We just made it official. Now we have to do it.
2 weeks ago, we officially.
So anyway, Glen's point, which is a brilliant one, that there's reality, there's practicality in politics, and for someone who's never been elected to office, to spout an agenda of zero compromise is a lack of understanding of how the political process works. Is that a fair characterization of what you said? Bonnie, your response.
I think that's a sign of the times. I think it shows the way our culture works, that lobbyists can go and have that much pull in whether it's Juneau or D.C. or any other capital. And I think we need more people like Joe Miller frankly, Ron Paul, I know you hate to hear that, Dan, but he went to D.C., and my mom even one time said, well, all he ever does is vote no. Well, that's right. He votes no because, a lot of these things, these laws that are proposed are not constitutional. And I do think that Joe Miller would go and be like that. He would say, well, what does the Constitution have to say about that? And that's how I'm going to vote. It doesn't matter what lobbyists say to me or what people say about me. I might not get elected again, but at least I will vote the way the Constitution tells me to.
I think what the compromise Glenn's calling for is not with lobbyists. It's with politicians who aren't politically aligned with you 100%.
Well, that's fine. They can do that. But maybe we need more people who are willing to go there and be like that.
Never compromise under any circumstance?
Maybe say, what does the Constitution have to say about that? And do we really need this law? And is it an income generator for the state?
Well, here's the difficulty is, what does the maximum benefit for the people mean?
I guess that could be misconstrued.
That's the whole point. Our current Constitution says that all resources of the state are owned in concert, in conjunction by the people of Alaska, and they're managed by the state of Alaska, whose job it is to get the maximum benefit for the people. What does that mean? To Democrats, that means we go to war with the oil industry, and if they make $5 in profit here, they stole $5 from us.
And it means getting more money in state coffers than creating jobs.
But that's why you have conservatives in there who then go in and say...
Your thing is just always go with the Constitution.
Well, but here's another problem. Our Constitution explicitly says in its 22nd Amendment that the state recognizes an individual right to privacy. Our Supreme Court here in the state of Alaska says what that means is you have an unlimited right to an abortion, and the state of Alaska has no interest whatsoever in whether or not there's a life. So, but they're part of our Constitution too, you see, and their interpretation and their views of it are part of our Constitution. All I'm saying is it is very difficult. It's not as easy. It's not as clear cut. If there was something that Joe really wanted, like let's say he wanted village public safety officers and he wanted $10 million more for those, and he wanted to fund those across the state of Alaska. In order to get that $10 million, he's going to have to figure out how to sew together a group of people in the legislature, real people, not fake people, not mystery people, not theoretical people. He's got to sew together real people who have their own real concerns too. So I like the idea, and I don't want to discourage people from holding people accountable or having conservative beliefs or wanting the process to result in a better product.
Or running for office.
But in the end, politics is a very specific thing. It's not a theoretical thing. And by just saying, well, I believe in the Constitution, frankly, I disagree with our Constitution quite a bit.
Oh, we have the worst Constitution in the country.
Well, yeah, and so anyway,
state Constitution.
The state Constitution. Yeah. So anyway, I guess for me and for many of the people who follow politics, want politicians to do the right thing, just saying the Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution doesn't do it for them.
I had a debate once with Shannon Moore.
Ooh.
And her side, what basically her position was, well, I'm for the Constitution.
Yeah.
She honestly believes that she lines up and obeys and follows the Constitution to the letter of the law. She said to me, well, I find that when you talk about activist judges, an activist judge is anybody who doesn't agree with your point of view. That's her opinion of an activist judge.
Yeah, how do you argue with that?
Right. So to say, well, I'll just keep spouting the word Constitution and never bend or compromise, and I'll go down there and show those people. Well, you got people who have different interpretation and views.
Yes, but Joe Miller will actually give case law for, he'll give examples of...
That's fine. Well, here's what he needs to do. I guess this is my point when you get right down to it. The power of a legislator is in the power to build a coalition and
lead,
to educate something, to lead people, to create a movement amongst the people in order to get support for things. So we are going to definitely need leaders here in the state of Alaska, in the country, and that's not an issue. The real difficulty for him is the leadership is not a theoretical process.
Do you know who the greatest legislator in my lifetime in Alaska, or my period in Alaska, was?
Ben Stevens.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not really a rigid conservative constitutional guy.
Whatever happened to him anyway?
But he got two big bills passed that were phenomenal. He fixed workers' comp. It was crippling businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And he stopped the bleed on the pensions. An incredible feat. He got enough leftists and moderates together, and those two pieces of legislation ended up seeing billions and billions of dollars.
They may save the state altogether.
They really will, Glenn.
I mean, and when you think about it.
If we still had the other tiers with the pension plan, our unfunded liability would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, it's not about always the guy who gives case law on why something's constitutional. It's about leadership. And sometimes you have to, it's same with world diplomacy as well. Sometimes you have to make deals with countries that don't have the values you have. But it's just for the greater good because the country that you're dealing with, the country you're going to deal with, will annihilate the planet if you don't stop them. You think we should have not worked with Russia in stopping Hitler? Oh, Russia's so anti-freedom and they don't understand our Constitution. Oh, eyes rolling. You have to sometimes deal with people.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we got through.
No.
Look, there's a lot to think about here because, we all have our ideals and we want people to live by our ideals. The difficulty for us, Bonnie, is not everybody agrees with us on every point. So in the end, you figure out what the best way to go forward is. I look at people like Dunleavy and Kathy Giesel. They're very effective legislators.
Yes.
They're very conservative. They're as conservative as I am, I believe. And they want the things that I want. But I find them very effective.
Yeah.
And I find them people to be people that other legislators have not written off, that they feel like that they can trust them and that they will do good and that they will make a difference.
In her defense.
She doesn't need a defense.
No,
nobody's attacking here.
What she's saying is that what really bothers her, and I agree with her, is that it seems to me when you're talking about Democrats and Republicans fighting, Republicans will say, okay, we'll compromise. And they give in 10 feet. And Democrats will give in 1/100th of an inch. And then everybody says, oh, there's compromise. And that's what's frustrating.
That was my tug of war the other day.
And I understand that. And that bothers me too. And, that no one's condoning that here. And so that's why I think that's what caused the Tea Party to rise up. Because people like Boehner and these guys who are just wishy-washy, who won't be tougher. But you can't throw out all compromise just because we've had some weak leadership in the past.
But wouldn't you say people like Kathy Giesel have gone to Juneau and really not, I mean, she hasn't voted completely the way that I think I would have, but for the most part she has, and she goes there and she's very staunch and true to her beliefs.
Well, my point is that she's a real legislator doing real things, and at some point you descend out of the clouds and out of the theory and out of the Constitution, and you figure out, here's 40 people in front of me, or 60. How do I work with them? What is it that I have to do to get something done that I want done?
What time's your meeting start?
I think the breakfast is going to be served. It closes at 7:30.
Oh, at 7:30?
Yeah, that's when you need to be in your seat.
Save Glenn a plate.
Yeah.
Can you stay for one more second?
No.
I really wanted to run this thing by you.
Too bad.
You'll have to run it by me.
Will you at least listen on the radio?
Sorry.
Will you at least listen because you don't even listen to the show when you're driving.
All right, I'll listen to the show when I'm driving. Don't make me drive off the road or anything like that.
Call in and then tell me. All right, we gotta go. Okay. 6:58.
Because when you're driving a GLA from Mercedes-Benz, you're not concerned with the destination, only the adventure. With off-road transmission mode and a sleek design, this SUV performs with confident style on any terrain. And no matter where your adventure takes you, the all-new GLA's sporty, expressive styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Hot talk all day. Hot talk every day. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. KOAN, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. People are still stranded in western New York.
I might have to ask somebody to borrow a couch for tonight.
We talked to Sergio at the Lake Effect Diner.
I just received a text message from my kitchen manager saying that he is snowed in. He's not making it today.
Because in some areas around Buffalo, they got 4, 5, or 6 feet of snow. It's better at times today, but...
The truck drivers that we spoke to out here don't think that they can get home as we head into today. Even though the sun is out, conditions have really improved out here. They don't think they're going to get home. There's too many abandoned cars on highways, and parts of it still closed.
Fox meteorologist Maria Molina in Pembroke. More than 100 vehicles got stuck. People trapped for hours. One man was found dead in a buried car, one of 5 deaths linked to the storm. 6 gay couples have just gotten marriage licenses in South Carolina, issued by a judge ahead of the state attorney general's move to block same-sex weddings, trying to uphold South Carolina's ban. From a prostitution scandal to the fence jumper who got into the White House. The Secret Service is under the microscope at a House hearing. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live at the White House.
The new director of the Secret Service, Joe Clancy, describes that investigation into the White House fence jumper earlier this year as devastating.
What hits the hardest is the range of shortcomings that ultimately allowed Omar Gonzalez to enter the White House practically unencumbered.
In September, Gonzalez hopped the fence, ran across the north lawn into the White House, all the way to the East Room. Officers say he had a small knife in his pocket. Clancy telling the House Judiciary Committee inadequate training and low morale must be improved at the agency. Dave.
Jared, imagine spending more than half your life in prison for a crime you didn't commit. Michael Hanline could be released next week after prosecutors in Ventura County, California say new evidence in a 1978 murder prompted a judge to overturn the now 69-year-old's conviction. Builders started fewer housing construction projects last month, but the 2.8% decline was because of a drop in new apartments. On Wall Street, stocks have been down. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
May I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home. It's called Power Swabs.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, and if you want to whiten your teeth 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. Just swab your teeth and you're done. Try Power Swabs risk-free by calling 1-800-663-1592. That's 1-800-663-1592. 1-800-663-1592.
Big Green Fever savings are back at John Deere. Save on all tractors from the 1 family to the Big 6 series with 0% financing for 60 months or big cash discounts. Plus, get $1,500 off a 1 family tractor with the purchase of 2 implements. Offer ends February 2nd, 2015, subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Visit your local John Deere dealer today to take advantage of special savings going on now. Find out more at myjohndeeredealer.com.
December 13th, 2014 is a very special day for a number of reasons. It's the last consecutive date that we will experience in our lifetimes. Well, 1314. And it's very special because Connect Country Liquor is having a customer appreciation all because of you. To honor you and this very special day, we will individually give away 12 bottles of Crown Royal, 13 bottles of premium wine, and 14 cases of beer. Just enter to win. We will draw for these prizes on December 13th and make many of our loyal customers very happy winners. Shop and enter to win at any or all of our locally owned and operated tax-free locations. Mile 49 Parks Highway, Mile 4.5 Connect Goose Bay Road, Palmer Wasilla Highway at Four Corners, and Cubby's Market, Mile 98.5 Parks Highway. We think you're pretty special every day, not just 12, 13, 14. No particular purchase necessary.
Keeping the valley in good spirits, yeah. Connect Country Liquor, oh yeah. KKL.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the some old Viennese.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk?
Very funny.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve. which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
6 minutes past 7 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Glenn is off today. He's heading over to the Resource Development Council meeting, educating himself. I'm sure he'll come back with all kinds of new inciting information and knowledge. He'll be back tomorrow. Bonnie, Glenn was with us the first hour, but we've dismissed him. I wanted to run this by Glenn and you and Brian. And, sometimes I just think of stuff, and I thought, wow, that's really good. But then when I kind of vet it, and other people hear my theory, it's like, wow, that was stupid.
No, I love a good theory.
Really?
I do. I want to hear it.
All right. What's the key to life? It's the key to advancing in life. This is my theory.
Okay, that's a little vague.
Yeah, well, it is.
Let me hear it first.
I believe personally that if you want to become a different person, if you want to change, if you want to become a better person, one of the keys to life, actually there's two keys to that. One, actually, Brian, you're an example of this. Whatever it is you fear, run as fast as you can straight for it. If it's public speaking, which was a fear of yours,
yes.
And look at you, you're on a radio show now. Whether Brian doing the Uber thing, whatever it is that you think, I'd love to do it, but there's no way I can do that. Don't walk to it, sprint to it. And keep doing it until there's no more fear.
Yes, until you sweat a little less each time.
No, until the fear is completely abolished.
Yeah.
I talked about when they first approached me over at KFQD about doing a talk show, and I'd never thought about it really that much. And I thought, wow, for 3 hours I'm supposed to get on there and talk? And what I did was, for the first several months, I'd have guests on every 15 minutes or half hour. Sometimes when I first started, I'd have a guest on there for a whole hour. Oh, my goodness, was that boring. But I just didn't want to be there with a microphone in front of me without anything to say. And so one day after, 3-4 months into the show, a guy stood me up, and I had a half hour to fill. So I just started talking. And you know what? It worked out okay. And then all of a sudden, guests, I always had guests, but they didn't have to fill the whole show. And then I realized, hey, I can do this. So much of life is running toward your fears. Sprinting toward them. Don't even, well, someday I'll deal with that. I think something that I probably need to do, I'm terrified of snakes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm absolutely terrified of them. And there are none in Alaska, other than, I guess, pet snakes. But I probably, at some point in my life, need to hold a snake. Oh, it would just absolutely be brutal for me.
Yeah, so many people are comfortable. They just want to stay in their bubble. And
the snake's not a good example because there's really no good that comes from that.
Yeah, and you did run from those. Alaska does not have any.
Yeah, right? Well, that's true. But the point is, run toward your fears.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sprint. So that's the one theory that I have, and I think that you'll become, if you did that for 5 years in your life straight, every time you feared something, you ran toward it.
Yeah, meet it head on.
Right, and not only fears, but insecurities.
Sure.
Things that you would, I can't ever do that, or because I'm not this, and I don't have the talent for that. I don't have the ability. Not just fears like I'm afraid of something, but I Anytime I believe that I can't do something because I'm inferior, run toward that.
Well, and it doesn't have to necessarily be something you want to do either, right? Because maybe if you're uncomfortable with it, you should also sprint towards it.
Well, no, it's got to be something of value.
Like you're passionate about.
It's got to be something of value. Like holding a snake was a terrible example. There's no value in that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many things in life that we would want to do, but we don't think we can do it. And if we did do it, it would produce great value, not only for us, but people around us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the one key to life. Anybody want to dispute that or take issue with that? Brian, your thoughts?
No, that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to know what you really want to do, though.
No. But see, no, that's okay. I didn't explain it very well. That is a state of mind. You live in that.
Yeah.
In other words, it is the first reaction to fear. Every day when you're walking through life and you're going through life and you get a thought about fear or insecurity, you run toward it. I mean, it's how you live. It's not that, someday I'll sit there and go jump out of an airplane because I'm scared. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about when you sense fear coming up, when you sense insecurity coming up, you run toward it.
Well, that's true. And what you said about me doing this, because when you first asked me to do it,
yeah,
I like, I'm not good at that. And you said,
Right.
We'll be nice to you. That
Yeah.
was a lie. But anyway, and then when I came here, I really felt like I was going to throw up. I mean,
you're scared.
I had to put my head in between my legs because I thought I was going to throw up. I was having to breathe deep and stuff. But, every time I would come back, it would get a little bit easier and easier. And
Yeah. And look at you now.
It's true.
You're a natural.
No, I don't know about that. But
You feel comfortable here now, though.
I do.
You don't
It's a little intoxicating.
intoxicated.
Actually.
Yeah. Now you told me something.
Addicting.
I'm assuming I can repeat it because I'm assuming she's not listening. Your mother will not listen to this because she's so afraid you'll mess up.
She is.
So
She's afraid for me.
She never listens to the show.
Occasionally, if my dad has it on, she'll listen. But then she leaves the room with her hands in the air, going, "I can't listen."
See, this would be a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She needs to run to that.
She needs
She's
to
run
listen
it
for
right
3
next
hours.
to that radio or computer,
Right.
and sit there and listen and listen and listen.
Yeah, that's not my mom.
And overcome that fear.
We'll make her watch.
Make her watch.
It's true. I'm going to send her this clip,
Good.
this part.
Good. All right. The second thing. So anybody, any more disputes? Do you understand more what I'm saying now, Brian? Not that
Yeah, I
you have to figure
understand
out what
that.
you want in life. And
Yeah.
It's literally a mentality. I sense fear, I'm running straight at it.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
brave.
It is. It's a very bold way to live life.
Yeah. Not many people can do that.
No, it's much easier said than done. But I believe the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and the more you'll do it. I believe it's going to have a snowball effect.
So one of the keys to life, run to fear.
Run to fear. Run to insecurities. Whatever it is you're afraid that you can't do or you're afraid of, if it has value, run straight at it.
If it has value, that's
Yeah.
a good point there.
Yeah, I'm afraid of jumping off a cliff
Yeah.
into the ocean.
Don't do
Well,
that.
there's no value to that. Yeah. So that would be the one that I think would be the.
My mother would say that's testing God.
Yeah, I'm afraid to find a girlfriend, but see, I've done that before and ran to it and it didn't work out, so I don't know.
Maybe you ran toward the wrong thing.
It may not work out.
Yeah, now I'm just running from them.
But on something like that, when it involves another person's free will,
Mhm.
that you just have to chalk that up to, well, they just have a different taste and desires than I do, but you can't rule out going and run into all. If there's a woman you're interested in, you're attracted to, just because previous have rejected you, that doesn't mean you stop.
Oh, I don't get rejected. I just don't ask.
You don't ask.
I couldn't handle that kind of rejection.
You can't. No, why not?
I just wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't that all men?
I'm shy.
No.
I wouldn't ask.
But
I'd wait for a girl to come find me and says, "Yep, you're the guy."
But what are you afraid that says something about you because she says no?
No, I just maybe had bad choices picking in the past, so this time I'll leave it to fate.
Yeah. I would have to say that's not a good policy.
Yeah, I know, but neither of them work so far.
What about eHarmony or Match.com?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give you the second key to life. Next. First one apparently works, or at least I think it's not easy to do, but if you can do it, it will pay dividends. 569-1080, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT, 714.
on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM. Oh, yeah, it's game day. I love football. He could go all the way. He's at the 10, the 5, touchdown. Man, that's why I love football. There's nothing better. Well, except maybe free buffalo wings from Sicily's. Call 333-8000 right now and ask for free buffalo wings. Buy any extra large 2-topping pizza at regular price and get 10 free buffalo wings. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Enjoy hot, fresh pizza and Italian food. Call 333-8000 or order online at sicilyspizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Have you ever wondered what it would be like to never be asked, what would you like for Christmas? And even if you did get asked, you know you wouldn't get it. For most teen youth in the foster system, this is a sad reality. But this year, you can change all that. This holiday season, you can make a difference with Pump Up the Kids. Alaska Integrated Media and this station have once again teamed up with the Alaska Center for Families and the Office of Children's Services for the 5th annual Pump Up the Kids. Did you know that we have hundreds of foster care kids who are in need? Kids who won't have much of a Christmas unless you help. This year, make a holiday wish come true for a local teen youth foster child by adopting a wish list. Go to alaskaim.com and click on the Pump Up the Kids logo to register. We'll contact you and get you a wish list, or simply make a donation.
Fagan and Biegel.
800-535.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 KOAN.
Earhart Roofing, the best roofing company in town, no doubt about it. 345-5555. Frank and Becky Earhart, they've been doing this a long time, and boy, they're good at it. They can install a roof for you on your home within 2 days. Just the very best in town. Give you a 50-year warranty. Earhart Roofing, again, 345-5555. 7:17 is the time. It's Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Glen's out. We're video streaming. That's right. The best video streaming in the land. DanFaganShow.us. Check it out. You'll be very impressed, I promise you. And we're also broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, right here on your radio. All right, so I'm talking about the 2 keys to life, which it just popped in my head. I don't know if it's how much validity it has. First one would be just run to your fears and insecurities. Just literally sprint to them. You start feeling insecure about something, I can't do that. I'm afraid of doing that. Run to it and do it. Have that as a mentality. You will be an exceptional human being, and you will achieve excellence in your life, and your circle of influence will explode if you live that principle. It is, as Brian said, much harder than it sounds. Now, a variation of that first point is this. Reject the comfortable.
Yes.
Reject the known. Literally look for ways to do things differently. And the visual I got on this is, if you're in a rut in life and you seem to have the same problems and they keep coming back and back and back, and you're not making any progress, and you've been going through the same things for decades, take a different path. And the visual I got on this is 5 feet of snow. And you've been taking the same path through that 5 feet of snow for years. It's very easy. You just walk through it. It's comfortable. It's what I know. Stop. Turn right. And start plowing through that 5 feet of snow.
That's a really good visual.
One step at a time. It's hard. It's so much harder than the path you've been going on for years. Oh, this is such a pain. This is going to take me forever. And you may go 2-3 feet and you'll jump back and go back on the regular path. Avoid the known. Take the different path. Change what you think about things. change your perception of things, change your habits, fix what you believe, get rid of all insecurities, get rid of all fear, and go for it.
And I think that's a really good point, too, because people tend to get really inward and just deal with their own lives every day and do what they're comfortable with, like you said. I've been dealing with this with my teenager, and I've decided that he's so selfish because he's so comfortable, and he only thinks about himself. And so I've told him this past weekend, because we had such a rough weekend, that he needs to get involved in some kind of community service or do something to where he's not so inwardly focused and selfish, and really look at other people's lives so that he knows how blessed he is and how good he's got it.
My nephew goes to a Catholic high school in New Orleans, and part of going to the school is they make the kids put in 20 hours of community service.
Great.
And my nephew hated it at the beginning.
Like, what did he do?
Go to homeless shelter,
Yes.
feed.
Mm-hmm.
He loves it now.
Wow.
He wouldn't miss it for the world.
He got out of his comfort zone.
Got out of what exactly you're describing.
Wow.
He went through that 5 feet of snow,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden he realized, hey, this isn't so bad. And the path that I'm going on now is much better than that easy path. And the problem, though, it's a perfect example, Bonnie, because the younger you are, the easier it is to change path.
Yes. So if I got him on this
Yes,
early, maybe
absolutely.
he could make a work of it.
Absolutely. When you get to be my age, or even your age, which you're much younger than I am, we get so set in our ways. We come home, we sit on the couch, we take the clicker, we watch TV 4 hours, we go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's comfortable. Have some potato chips, maybe have a cold beer. It's just relaxed, comfortable.
I'm scared of that. I should try it.
I'm going to run to the clicker. I'm going to run to...
I wonder what's on.
Run to the Doritos and Miller Lite. But there's something to this, because so many of us are in these ruts in our lives, and we can't make progress. We want to be so different than we are, and yet we're so frustrated. A lot of us have given up. It's over. This is who I am. It's not who you are. You're just choosing the easy way. You're not running to your fears and conquering them. Life is so exciting and challenging. And the reason it's exciting is because it's challenging. And you can't let your past dictate your future. If you failed 1,000 times, there's absolutely no guarantee you're going to fail 1,001.
And there's so many opportunities, too, if you look around, to really insert yourself and make a difference. I know I did actually both of those things, met my fear and got him out of my comfort zone when I was younger by going to a nursing home and playing bingo with the people there.
As a kid?
Yeah, and did that kind of community service. And I need to get my kids involved in that kind of thing again.
I don't want, I like your examples and my example of my nephew, but that's not really what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about become, some bleeding heart, go feed the homeless guy. I'm talking about doing things that you don't do because you're afraid you'll fail.
I can tell you, and you know me, I'm kind of shy, just around people I don't know, especially. Right. Once I get to know you, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Well, I worked for the Aces for about 8 years now, and I used to fill in just as the DJ. And then one day Bob couldn't make it, the announcer.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I guess I'll give it a shot. And so I've done it over the last 8 seasons, maybe a handful of times every year. And last year I did like 13 games for him.
Wow.
And just getting up there and letting loose, screaming and singing like Bob does, it's really hard to do at first. And the more I did it, the better I got. And I'm standing there with 6,000 people screaming and singing at the top of my lungs.
That's
and you don't
awesome.
know how uncomfortable that makes me.
But
I like doing it now. It gives me a real rush.
That decision to run at your fears paid huge dividends.
Oh, yeah.
It always does.
I'm not afraid to stand in front of 10,000 people and talk, but I'm afraid to stand in front of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the bad part.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm the same way. I don't anymore. But when I first started doing my lunches, we'd have 800 people in the ballroom, and I got nervous. Even though I talked TFQD, we get tens of thousands of listeners, but my first luncheon, I was nervous. I'm not now because I've done so many of them, but But that's it, Brian. You know, it always pays great dividend when you run to your fear. Anything in life of any value causes some kind of courage.
You know what's really bad about that, though? Everybody that loves Bob is like, this guy sucks.
Oh, yeah. Well.
But, you know, even Bob's like, no, you're doing a good job. Other people have filled in.
Well, you're never going to be able to please everybody.
Yeah.
And you don't measure yourself by other people.
And I definitely am no Bob. You know, he's great. I look up to him as far as that goes.
You're just different.
But I have my own little style, I guess. So.
No, I think when it comes to broadcast ability, Bob Lester's probably one of the top 25 broadcasters in the country, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
He's so skilled and talented.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of his show because it's crude and kind of mean and nasty, but he as a broadcaster is just a phenomenal talent.
Definitely.
So run to your fear. Take the path of heavy snow. I just think it's so. Now that's just talk, folks. That's so easy to say. But if you could somehow get into a groove where that was your instinct, that was your natural way of dealing with life. And I guarantee you there are a lot of people who are like that. And they're CEOs of companies and very successful. And you could not avoid success by living that way. You will become an exceptional human being, and people will take note of you if that's the way you live your life.
You know, and it's so funny now because we live in such a world of, you know, the smartphones and Facebook, and people are with their head down a lot and spending a lot of time on Facebook and the internet. And you, like, if you're on Facebook, you see all these memes about, you know, doing better and living a better life, and and you'd think that we'd have it all figured out by now.
Yeah.
But it's really refreshing to hear, you know, actual real talk about it.
Well, you know, the thing about running to your fears and insecurities and taking the unfamiliar path, I'm not talking about things that are always large in scale. You know, for men, I as a man, sometimes it's very difficult for me to make myself vulnerable. I'm afraid of that. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Run to that.
How do you go and make yourself vulnerable,
just do it.
though?
You go to whoever it is that you're in a relationship with, even if it's a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a romantic relationship, it can be a friendship, it can be a coworker. And you say, you know what? When you say this, it really hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that person may look at you, oh, you're a big wussy. Man, I can't. But you made yourself vulnerable to that person, and that's going to hurt if they reject your vulnerability. That takes courage. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there are men who are married who will spend their entire life never becoming vulnerable to their wife because they're afraid that she won't accept it or understand it or honor it. So they just shut down. And they literally put these walls up, and the marriage suffer. The marriage becomes a going through the motions process. Most men are very afraid of making themselves vulnerable. And you want to talk about change this culture dramatically overnight, is if men all of a sudden became open to the idea and found the courage to be vulnerable. Say to their wives, you know, when we were at the party the other night, you made fun of my garage and the way I kept it. That really hurt me. And, you know, if the woman doesn't understand what's going on there and she says, oh, you're being a baby, that's going to destroy that guy's heart.
Yeah, it's okay for women to you know, open their hearts up and let people know their feelings, but other people can't have feelings, I guess.
It's easier for women.
Mm-hmm.
We're not built that way. So, you know, when we're talking about looking for things that you're afraid of, I would start with vulnerability with those you love. Even your immediate family, your sisters, your mother, your father, your cousins, I'm telling you, there's nothing that takes more courage than vulnerability. It is so easy to build walls.
Mm-hmm.
And when you build walls, it's comforting because no one can get in or out. There's no risk. There's no chance of rejection. But when you really take the courage and run to that thing you're afraid of, change the culture overnight. 569-1080, 729 is the time.
And now, the Fox News Business Report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are under pressure as the Dow Industrials and S&P 500 pull back from record highs, and investors await the minutes from the Federal Reserve's last policy meeting. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow is down 58 points. Shares of Target are up nearly 5% after the discount retailer's quarterly results beat expectations. The company says toy sales were one of the stars, thanks to licensed products like Frozen dolls and other toys based on characters from Disney's latest princess movie. And Paramount stock rose more than 5% as the office landlord went public on the New York Stock Exchange. Paramount raised $2.3 billion, and it owns San Francisco's landmark One Market Plaza building and Washington, D.C.'s Liberty Place. The stock is trading under the ticker PGRE. And in economic news, housing starts rose for a second straight month in October, with building permits nearing a 6.5-year high. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
Warning, you must have your solar system up and running by midnight December 31st, or you'll miss out on this year's federal tax credit. Energy prices are expected to increase by as much as 40% in the near future. Go solar now with no down payment. In 4 payments for a whole year. The door of opportunity is about to slam shut. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR now for a free in-home assessment.
My home, my savings, 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. And Anchorage Assembly members calling for the city to opt out of the commercial marijuana trade. Eagle River's Amy Domboski says the city should take advantage of language in the recently passed ballot initiative that allows communities to prohibit businesses that sell marijuana. If the ordinance passes, locals who wish to use pot will have to grow it themselves. A task force examining issues of sexual assault, domestic violence, and child abuse in American Indian and Alaskan Native populations presented its findings to the Department of Justice Tuesday, and Kenda reports.
Recommendations included at least one on-site law enforcement official in every village, as well as funding for village-based women's shelters, child advocacy centers, drug and alcohol treatment centers, and programs to reduce the disproportionate number of Alaska Native children in foster care.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Today will be mostly sunny with a high 38, then tonight partly cloudy, low 24. Sun and some clouds throughout the day tomorrow with a high 34 and a low tomorrow night of 25. Friday, partial sunshine, high 36, then partly sunny Saturday with a high 33. Sunday, clouds and sunshine, high 32. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Alaska Integrated Media, the owner of this station, is looking to fill 3 positions. First, we have an opening for a receptionist traffic assistant. This is a part-time job, but can work into full-time. Pay depends on experience. We're looking for someone with a great personality, someone who likes to greet the public, and has experience with phone systems. We also have an opportunity in our advertising sales department, where you can earn above average income, work with small business owners and operators to assist them with their advertising needs, and work on promotions. If you have any type of outside or inside sales experience, or you've worked in the hospitality industry, this could be a great position for you. Next, our programming department has a rare opening. We're looking for Alaska's next great talent, with opportunities for part and full-time DJs and on-air personalities. Check out our website, alaskaim.com, or call 522-1018 to apply. Alaska Integrated Media is an equal opportunity employer. Minority applicants are encouraged to apply.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning education to retirement, and business insurance you grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Here's my good friend, Keith Montronock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. And online at 1080KOAN.com.
7:35. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, right here on KOAN, KVNT. Our phone number, 569-1080. We are video streaming on the internet on danfagan.us. You can actually watch the show right there on your computer or your smartphone. Right? You can watch this on your smartphone, right? Right?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at some of the analytics, and it's about 70% computers, and a lot of them are smartphones, the rest.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, some of them have their...
That.
Yeah, it even tells you if they have, like, a smart TV, and so they're just watching YouTube from their TV. We've had some of those, too. So, hello, people.
Hello, TV people.
That's great.
569-1080 is our number, 569-1080. So today on the Eddie Burke Show, they're going to have Bill Walker, who's going to be the governor, and one of his strongest supporters, Joe Miller.
Stop
and then,
you don't know that.
Oh, you don't know.
Is Sarah going to be there?
Know that. You haven't asked Joe Miller.
You don't
that.
think Miller voted
I
for
don't know. That's a private thing that he hasn't.
What do you think?
I don't know. I would love to ask him.
I'm asking you to guess. Because you know what Miller stands for. He loves aces.
Well, he voted no for Prop 1.
Only because he had to in a Republican primary.
So maybe
he adores Sarah
for
Palin. She's the person that he admires most. Sarah Palin endorsed Bill Walker. How can you vote against the person you admired most endorsement?
I don't know.
You don't want to come. Denial just ain't a river.
I'm going to ask him that. One of these days, I'm going to ask him.
But what do you?
But he doesn't have to tell me because it's private.
But what do you think? You know enough about the guy. He loves aces. He praised it on this show.
That's all I hear from you.
You were sitting right here.
I didn't hear him praise aces.
Well, he wouldn't say anything bad about it.
And I'm maybe he would now. Maybe he would now.
Why would he?
Because we see the F-21 was so much better.
That was like a month ago.
I don't know. I like Joe Miller.
I know you like him because he knows how to say the word Constitution.
I'm not going to agree with him on everything, but I really do.
He's a backbone guy.
I think we're going to need people like him if the country ever gets financially in peril.
People who go to war with the private sector.
Oh, my word.
People know how to run tanks.
Well, I don't know. I don't understand your affection for Miller, and yet you don't like my guy, Dan Sullivan. I don't get it.
Dan Sullivan just.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure. Well, we'll see.
He doesn't say the word Constitution every fourth word.
Does he know what's in it?
Let's see. I think where'd he go? Harvard.
Well, Miller went to Yale.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I went to UAA.
I taught at UAA. I was a UAA professor.
See?
How's that for fancy?
Breaking
There's
news.
Ever a reason not
breaking
to go.
news. Joe did an endorsement of Parnell.
Who sent you that? Matt Johnson?
No, Bethany Markham.
Joe endorsed Parnell.
Yes. So that's why I reserve my feelings.
All right, I'm going to take credit for this because I did it twice yesterday. I was wrong.
Oh, I got to write it down.
I want you to write that. Every time I'm wrong, I want to keep note of it.
That's three in 2 days.
That's 3 times in 2 days.
I guess I should start keeping track. I probably double that.
Now, was that after the primary was over?
I don't know.
We should call him and console him on.
Why would it make a difference?
Well, if he did it for political gain, because in a closed primary, endorsing Walker would help him.
You know, I would think that Joe would probably have a problem with Walker and the way that he unified the ticket because
the left
and did the whole independent route because he's probably sore still over the whole.
And I know Whitaker hates Joe Miller, and he's going to be Walker's chief of staff. So you're right. Maybe there is some problems there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Joe would go for any kind of unity ticket with a Democrat.
Yeah, no, he's not much of a compromiser.
Right.
Yeah.
Good for him.
No, that's probably true. That's probably true.
So maybe, I don't know. It'd be interesting to ask him. And
so you remember we were talking yesterday about whether Walker was going to abandon the 52% in the state owning the line, even if it meant he was going to blow up the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about yesterday. We didn't know whether or not he would. I was told yesterday there's no way he's going to abandon that 52%.
No, I can't see that he would either.
Because that's his whole life mission.
Right.
To have the government own the pipeline.
You don't say something when you're not running for office.
Yeah.
And then expect to just go back from that.
Yeah. 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number. If you'd like to join the broadcast, Bethany.
Bonnie, what kind of Joe Miller fan are you that you didn't even realize that Joe had done an endorsement of
you really, when you sit here with Dan Fagan every day.
Yeah, I suppose you have a jaded view of things.
You know, he starts to convince you of things and get in your head and.
Bethany, you know that Joe Miller is got some Sarah Palin in him, though. You know he's got some anti-oil populism.
Joe Miller realizes he has to have Sarah Palin supporters as part of his supporters. That has nothing to do with whether or not he believes in her policies.
Well, I grilled him extensively on ACEs, and he couldn't say a negative word about it. He
came out very strongly and said that he was clearly supporting no on one for the primary.
He did.
Which he had to do in the primary, but
he did it.
Why would he not criticize ACEs? Was he fishing for an endorsement from Palin? This was pre-endorsement too, by the way.
Hey, that's good politics, in my opinion. If he needed her endorsement to some degree.
So why is Dan Sullivan Adolf Hitler? Because he endorses the minimum wage for good politics.
No, he's not Adolf Hitler.
Pandering?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand it's pandering. But Joe Miller's pandering too.
When you bring up Adolf Hitler every time to just to make your point.
Actually, I'm sure that's an insult to Hitler for you because you think Dan Sullivan is like. Well, did you hear when Dan Sullivan called the show one time, Bethany, and Bonnie said, "Why does everybody hate you?"
No, actually, she did that to his face.
Yeah.
I heard about it. I've heard it mentioned several times on the show, Dan. But
I don't even remember saying that.
But I just wanted to set the record straight that Joe actually wrote an article about why I'm supporting the Parnell Sullivan ticket.
No, I did not know that.
For you to come out and say, for Dan, for you to assume that he was supporting Walker just goes to show that you don't know everything that's in Joe Miller's heart.
Well, no, we document the things I get wrong every day.
Yeah, well, okay, well, let's add this to the tally. We had two yesterday. Let's add another one today.
No, I did. But you cannot deny that Joe Miller has some backbone tendencies, some anti-oil populism tendencies. When I was on my old show, him and I got in a huge fighting match or a shouting match about ACEs. He was loving it back then. And then even with the new show just a few weeks ago, I was grilling him on ACEs and telling him why it was so horrible, and he wouldn't agree with anything I said. So the guy clearly has some anti-oil populism in him.
I disagree. I don't think he necessarily is anti-oil populist. I think what he might have is a willingness to look at crony capitalism, and when crony capitalism crosses the line of being there versus just being
how is ACEs crony capitalism?
I don't believe it is. But I think he recognizes that sometimes there are things that cross the line into crony capitalism when you're in that same vein of policy.
You know, Sarah Palin uses crony capitalism all the time, and she doesn't even know what it is. I mean, I know you do.
She experienced it.
Who, Palin?
Yes, she broke the mold on that.
On crony capitalism?
Yes, she broke up the good old boys club.
Yeah, but that wasn't
No, she didn't.
She helped.
No, she didn't.
I that's the way I remember it.
Broke up the good old boys. She came out and said the oil companies are evil. I'll take them on. And people voted for her.
She really
That's
could
all
have
she
been.
did.
She really could have been used in the Murkowski administration, and then she kind of turned her back on him.
She turned her back on Murkowski.
On Frank Murkowski, yeah.
Well, yeah, she didn't like Randy Riedrich much, and so she sends complaints.
I think for her it's often about personal politics, not as much about
I would
policy.
agree with that.
It's about
I would
revenge.
agree with that. But back then it seemed more.
Yeah. Thank you, Bethany.
Yep. Bye.
7:44.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
Hey, make a note to yourself. You need to go over to Bell's Nursery and Gifts on Specking Road right after work tomorrow, because it's Bell's evening shopping spree from 5 to 7 p.m. only Thursday after work. Of course, there are lots of great gift ideas. And talk about saving money. From 5 to 7 p.m., everything in Bell's big, beautiful gift shop is 20% off everything. And that includes gift cards. Yes, it means you can buy a $100 gift certificate for only $80. So you're guaranteed to save money. And with all the amazing things Bell's carries in their beautiful gift shops, a Bell's gift certificate is a great way to be sure the people on your list will get exactly what they want. And everything you buy at that time is 20% off. Free drinks and hors d'oeuvres, too, plus free prize drawings every 15 minutes. So be sure to get there on time. It's 2 hours only from 5 to 7 p.m. And the earlier you get there, the more chances you have to win. And it's happening tomorrow afternoon. Bell's Nursery and Gifts on Specking Road. You know, a beautiful Christmas begins at Bell's.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out moviesacre.com.
Someone who likes to greet the public and with phone opportunity in a sales department. Position for you. Next, our programming department has a rare opening. We're looking for Alaska's next great talent, with opportunities for part and full-time DJs and on-air personalities. Check out our website, alaskaim.com, or call 522-1018 to apply. Alaska Integrated Media is an equal opportunity employer. Minority applicants are encouraged to apply.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 AM.
747. You need a mechanic you can trust? Well, that's Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto. He's over there on right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Habit. You will be satisfied. You will be satisfied. Give Keith a call. You can drop your car off, and most times he can give you a ride back to work. One of his staff members will take you back to work or home. That's a real plus in dealing with Keith and his Specialty Truck and Auto shop. The number for Keith is 349-1637. 349-1637. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan, Bonnie Cameron here. Glen's off this morning. 12 minutes ahead of 8 o'clock. Our number, 569-1080. Bethany Markham and Bonnie tried to make the point that Sarah Palin fought crony capitalism.
No, she was actually agreeing with you.
And broke up the Good Old Boys Network. Okay, just you. Bethany agreed with me and broke up the Good Old Boys Network. And Bonnie has admitted, now this is something I admire about you. You used to be a Sarah Palin bot. You used to think she was wonderful and all that, like the rest of the state. But you have come to realize that her policies were not beneficial to the state. Now, you said Sarah Palin practiced crony or fought crony capitalism. And I asked you, because I'm not trying to make you look bad, because most people don't know what crony capitalism is. And I asked you what it was, and you said you weren't, I don't know, what did you say it was?
I said that I think it's when people who are in business use that business for their own wealth, like to create wealth for themselves.
Is there anyone in business who does not have a business?
Well, no. I mean, okay. I guess I mean in the wrong way. They use it in maybe illegal means. Because all I remember from that time is pictures on the news of, the and people getting convicted and going to jail. And so to me, as the person who was watching all that back then, that's what I think of when I think of crony capitalism.
Is a business that breaks the law.
Right. I mean, it's using their business as a means to create wealth, by illegal means.
Yeah. No, that would be called a criminal.
Okay. Well, that's what I think of when
Yeah.
I think of.
But that's not crony capitalism.
Okay. Well, explain to me.
Crony capitalism is legal in America. Crony capitalism is when a business lobbies the government for an advantage over and the government passes legislation that gives certain businesses a leg up. That's crony capitalism. How did Sarah Palin fight that?
I'm not sure. Did I say that she broke up? I think
you said
I said she broke up the Good Old Boys Club.
Right, but you said she fought crony capitalism and she broke up the Good Old Boys.
Oh, okay. Well.
But you understand the difference between crony capitalism. Like when GE has its GE Corporation,
yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
They hire their lobbyists and they go to Congress and they say, we want you to give us massive tax breaks to manufacture windmills because they aren't profitable without the tax breaks. And the Obama administration, which is beholden to the environmentalists, likes that idea, so they pass this legislation. All of a sudden, GE doesn't pay any taxes, even though they made $50 billion last year.
Or forcing us to buy a certain kind of light bulb because it benefits their business.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's crony capitalism. It's
sure.
when the government goes in there and tries to manipulate the marketplace, but they do it at the behest of corporations that stand to profit.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Palin had nothing to do with crony capitalism.
But
ACES does not in any way disable crony capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
ACES is nothing but a big fat tax increase. That's all ACES is. Crony capitalism is not shutting businesses down because you don't like businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Crony capitalism is giving certain businesses leg up over other businesses.
Well, the thing I remember about that time, though, was Sarah Palin was up for some kind of position in Kauski's cabinet.
She was given a position on the RCA, the Regulatory Commission of Alaska, which is a commission that makes sure that we maximize our resources. She was the citizen advisory member on the commission.
So then something happened, and
Randy Riedrich, who was the head of the Republican Party, was chair of the commission.
Mm-hmm.
And he was accused by Sarah Palin of using his position as head of the RCA to also conduct Republican Party business.
Right.
And she blew the whistle on him. And Frank ignored Sarah.
Right.
And so she got angry about that.
And she
went to the media.
Not forget.
And she actually, when I say that she went to the media, she went to me. I broke the story. I sat there with her and another person at the commission, and we went through all these emails, and I reported it at Channel 2. But that's not crony capitalism. That's Randy Riedrich using state offices to advance the Republican Party.
But then right after that, isn't that when all the stuff with Vico went down? And
the Vico thing was completely separate from all that.
Okay.
Bill Allen, who owns Vico, he fought for legislation that would lower taxes on the industry because he knew that would cause more investment from the producers. And since they were the largest oil field services company in the state, a vibrant, healthy economy in the oil patch benefited his company. So he wasn't looking for an advantage his company over another. If Bill Allen would have said, okay, all companies that have V's at the front of their names, we get a 12% tax break. Everyone else has to pay much more. He just wanted the economy strong because his company would benefit. Now, it's still illegal. What he did was he got a couple of legislators, and he got them in the Suite 604 in the Baranoff in Juneau, and he basically bribed them. He promised Pete Cott a job as a warden at one of his prisons that he owned. He gave cash to Vic Coring. This was some of the stuff that went on with Vico. And this was all on tape. The FBI recorded it all. So that was and Palin had nothing to do with any of that. She was running for governor, and I remember I was out at the Alaska State Fair the day it broke when the FBI showed up to the legislative offices downtown and started to raid the offices and searching. She was just running for governor, and she utilized that to say, we need to clean up the state. Well, everybody knew that. And it wasn't as like there was widespread corruption. It was basically 3 lawmakers and Bill Allen.
She made it sound so good.
I know she did, because she's a master politician.
Right.
But when she went on national television acting like she cleaned it up, she didn't clean up jack. She just was at the right place at the right time.
But at the time, she was showing courage by speaking up, though, saying those things.
Are you serious?
It was not popular to do that.
Are you serious? It was the most popular thing you could do. Here that we just had all these legislators raided, and you're going to get up there and say we need to clean up the oil industry? Of course it was popular.
For a Republican to be doing that against another Republican was...
she had an 80%. She won in a landslide. She took the easy path. There was no courage there. And I'll tell you what happened. Her first year and a half in office, before she went and became a conservative nationally, she was the most liberal governor we ever had. And she raised taxes on the oil industry. She said, Exxon, don't let the door hit you on your way out.
Yeah, it's not very conservative.
And the Daily News loved her. They wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. She had 80% approval ratings. And what she did, when she governed, any legislator that wouldn't go to war with the oil industry, she used the VICO corruption to say you're part of that corruption. And that was not courageous. That didn't take any moxie. That was the easiest path to popularity. And the second she got on the national stage and started talking about Barack Obama palling around with terrorists, the Daily News turned on her on a dime. And then when she came back, because the Daily News and the media turned on her, because all of a sudden now she's a conservative, which she clearly wasn't as a governor, then she didn't want to go through that, and so she quit. This whole narrative that she was courageous and she was at the right place at the right time, and she hyped it like you wouldn't believe. And frankly, she stirred the anti-oil populace so strong in this state that we cost ourselves billions in investment because we went to war with the oil industry. And when other oil patches across North America were booming, Alaska was declining because we passed this ACES. And she did much more harm than good. There's no fighting crony capitalism. There's no fighting corruption. All she did was demagogue what had already happened. She had nothing to do with the investigation into VICO and into Bill Allen and all that. She was at the right place at the right time.
Well, that's when I started questioning her, was when she started palling around with Hollis French.
Hollis French wrote ACES.
That was my first clue.
She proposed ACES. It was punitive. Hollis French took it and made it death penalty-like, and then she called it a better bill and signed it.
Well, I think that Bethany's the one originally who said something about Joe Miller and noticing, crony capitalism and, being aware of it and not wanting it to happen again. So that's when, and I do think that people's intention with the state constitution and maximizing the benefit, I do believe that they have the right intention. They want to follow the Constitution and get the maximum benefit for Alaskans.
But you understand.
I just think that as conservatives, we should not be for more higher taxes.
But Bonnie, you understand that there are some people who would say the maximum benefit is more money in state coffers.
Exactly.
And then other people say maximum benefit will be more jobs.
Right.
So you can't just go, and that's what she.
But that doesn't make them bad.
But no, I'm not saying that. But what Sarah Palin would do is she would say, well, I'm for the maximum benefit, as though there was only one interpretation.
Right.
And if you thought I'd rather have a job than have more money in state coffers, then you had the wrong interpretation of the Constitution.
I just don't write Joe Miller off because if he believes that, if that's what he believes.
569-1080, 569-1080. We'll take some calls when we get back. 7:58.
What it would be like to never be asked.
This grant program will give top selected cities up to $25,000 to produce an outdoor free concert series in 2015. But we won't win without your help and vote. Sign up at amp.olivetpavilions.org before November 30th or visit anchoragedowntown.org to follow the link to vote and help us win. The concert series will be produced by Anchorage Downtown Partnership with the help of the Alaska State Council on the Arts. It will feature local talent and help bring up bands from the lower 48 and beyond. Please help spread the word and rally your family, friends, colleagues, and neighbors to sign up and vote for Anchorage. Remember, we're competing against other cities in the lower 48, so every vote counts. The program ends November 30th. Brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership and Alaska Integrated Media.
The Talk of the Valley, 92.5 FM and 1020 AM, KVNT, Eagle River, Houston, a service of Alaska Integrated Media.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm John DeMaster. Police in New York City on alert after a terrorist attack in Jerusalem. Security being stepped up at synagogues throughout the city. The president condemning the attacks, but retired Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters on Fox News saying the president seems to be treating this attack like a natural disaster.
It's not, a random act of violence. And we've got to face up to that. The president has to face up to it. And frankly, all this stuff about jihad being a peaceful inner struggle, that's like saying that Nazism was about legitimate genetic research. Jihad always has been and is about attacking the infidel.
The president expected to issue executive action on immigration reform on Friday. He's promised to do what he can because of what he calls inaction in Congress. A powerful storm continuing to dump heavy snow on parts of upstate New York, over a half dozen deaths being blamed on the snowstorm. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
It's the hard truth. In today's world, negative experiences quickly find a way to go online. One disgruntled customer, a bad employee, or broken personal relationship can easily post an ill-advised photo, tweet, rumor, story, bad review, and there it is right on page 1 when you search your name or business online. In the past, you had no way to fight back. Well, now you can. Grab a pen and take down this phone number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-460-5733. That's 1-800-460-5733. When you call, you'll get free info that'll show you how a reputation management company can easily build positive online content for you and legally bury negative information. This is not something you can do on your own. Don't lose any more business or miss out on another personal or business opportunity because of what is wrongfully being said about you online. Take control of your internet search results. Call 1-800-460-5733. That's 1-800-460-5733. Hurry, don't delay. Call 1-800-460-5733 today.
Without question, the agency has been severely damaged in recent years by failures, ranging from disgraceful misconduct on the part of some employees to operational breakdowns that undermine the trust and confidence that previous generations worked so hard to establish.
Acting Director of the Secret Service Joe Clancy testifying after a series of security breaches in the past few years. The latest, that fence jumper, able to get all the way into the executive mansion with a knife. Clancy, a former chief of the Secret Service's Presidential Protection Division. The Obamacare architect who's under fire for mocking American voters as stupid is a regular at the White House. Here's the Blaze Radio's Chris Barnes. He has details now from Washington.
MIT professor Jonathan Gruber visiting the White House 21 times since Barack Obama's presidency starts. The Wall Street Journal citing White House visitor logs, saying Gruber's also received tours of the West Wing and the First Family's residence. The report coming after President Obama indicates last week that Gruber was just
some advisor who never worked on our staff.
With more reaction to Gruber's comments about the lack of transparency needed to get Obamacare passed, North Carolina Congresswoman Republican Renee Elmers.
We heard Nancy Pelosi say way back when, let's pass it so that we can all find out what's in it. This has been the plan all along.
Elmers speaking on the record on Fox News in Washington. I'm Chris Barnes, the Blaze News.
A decision on the Keystone Oil Pipeline going to remain up in the air at least until the next Congress is seated. A bill authorizing construction of the pipeline hit that 60-vote threshold needed in the Senate. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying he'll bring the bill back once a Republican-controlled Congress is seated. It's cold outside everywhere today, as much of the nation's shivering because of an Arctic blast. A powerful storm continuing to dump heavy snow on parts of New York and more on the way. Over a half.
Fraudulent charges aren't always so easy to find. They can start out as just a few dollars.
This is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River. Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Six minutes past 8 o'clock. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel here on KOAN, KVNT. Glen's off this morning. Bonnie Cameron's right here with us. We're streaming live video-wise on danfagan.us. And keep in mind that we also archive all the shows on danfagan.us. Just follow the streaming link, and you will see how to get to the show. You can watch any show that we've done video-wise on danfagan.us. There was a letter a column in the Anchorage Daily News, or excuse me, the Alaska Dispatch News, open letter to Bill Walker. It was written by attorney Kevin Clarkson, and as I read it, I thought, man, that's exactly what I would say to Bill Walker if I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with him. Kevin Clarkson joins us now. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Appreciate you joining us. I thought you were spot on with your letter or your column, open letter, because you really tried, I think, pull out the best in what you hoped he would do, without being pessimistic and negative about his administration. You disclose right off the bat you're a Parnell supporter, but for those who didn't see the column, let us know exactly what it is you're hoping Mr. Walker does.
Well, Bill's a good friend, literally. Someone I know, and frankly, I easily could have supported in his run for governor. Originally, my concern was that he couldn't pull it off because, if you looked at the polls, Parnell was a shoo-in, and I like Sean, and I know Sean as well. But then, later, literally, my concern was that, with the alliance with the Democratic Party, that maybe Bill's ambitions to somehow overcome his convictions, because I'm comfortable with who Bill Walker is. I think he and I are a lot alike. Probably you and he are a lot alike in terms of a lot of issues. But I just hope that he'll be true to who he is and not think he's beholden to somebody.
Well, the crowd, some of them that he is associated with, I hear a lot of very vitriolic accusations. The idea that if you support a competitive tax environment, you're anti-Alaska, you're pro-big oil, you're a shill of big oil. I don't ever hear those kind of words coming out of Mr. Walker directly, but a lot of supporters seem to express that.
I think that's true, and that's probably true of any politician, that there are extremes that support them, and then there are the more moderate folks. I think Bill is one of those people that's more reflective and more thoughtful, and I think he wants the best for Alaska. He's not out to go out and crush the oil industry. I mean, let's face it, that's our bread and butter, and Bill knows that. He wants the best for us. He just wants to get there, and he may have a different recipe than others, but I think he's going to approach governing, in the same respectful, thoughtful way he approaches life in general and his practice of law.
I sense by your column that he's going to really have to, what you're asking him to do is to really reach deep down inside and find the courage to be his own man, because he's surrounded himself with a lot of people. They're going to want a lot of things that I think maybe you or I would not agree with.
I think they're going to want things that Bill wouldn't agree with either. And so I think you're right. There are a lot of people who threw themselves onto his, or latched onto his coattail and pushed him over the hurdle, barely, but over the hurdle nonetheless, who are going to think he's beholden to them. And I think that Bill should sort of observe and be true to who he is, because he was at the top of the ticket.
Yeah,
he was driving the train. If the folks on his coattail had the political power, they wouldn't have let him take the top of the ticket.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with who Bill Walker is. I hope he stays true to who he is.
Well, I thought that was a really strong point. And the bottom line is the folks who joined with Bill had no chance. They literally had no chance of winning. Because they joined with Bill, I know they hope that they'll be part of the power structure, but without him, so he doesn't really owe them anything, does he?
Well, no, and I was thinking about it this way, really. If Bill, obviously he's got 4 years to govern, and that should be his first thought and priority, but if Bill Walker figured out a way to make sure that there's no Republican candidate running against him in the next election, you want to talk about a unity ticket. Yeah. That would be like a dream unity ticket.
Right.
If he figures out how to become the Republican candidate for governor with Democratic support,
yeah,
then that's like 90% of the vote.
We're talking to Kevin Clarkson, who wrote an open letter to Bill Walker in the Alaska Dispatch News, and you can check it out there at adn.com. I am concerned about some of the names that are being floated. Actually, I think Amanda Coyne, for his transition, for his cabinet, I think Amanda Coyne confirmed yesterday that Jim Whitaker will be his chief of staff. I don't know Mr. Whitaker personally. I'm sure he's a fine gentleman, but his views on industry are pretty extreme, as I understand them. Other names, Joe Pascovan, DNR commissioner, another guy with some very extreme views, in my opinion, anti-development, anti-business, anti-oil industry views. Do any of these names that are being floated, and again, only Whitaker's been confirmed, do they give you any pause?
What you're telling me, Dan, is news to me, so I really haven't given any thought to comment upon that. I have confidence in Bill. I know he's the governor. It's really, for me, it's yet to be seen who he's going to put around him. But whoever he does, as long as Bill Walker governs the way that as who I know Bill Walker to be, I'll be good with him.
Now, when you say he's a close friend of yours?
Well, he's a friend. I don't know if I call him a close friend. We don't hang out, but yeah, he's somebody that we talk. And
specifically, what is it that you admire about him in regard to his capacity to lead?
I just think he's a genuine person. There are some people who run for office who sort of try to blend and become whatever they might be. I know that was an allegation that was thrown at Bill. I think that was part of a reflection of the fact that he had aligned himself with some folks who were expecting him to say certain things. That's why he was sort of perhaps being a little inconsistent as he spoke publicly. But I'm confident with who Bill is, and I think he's a genuine article.
And he is a
genuine person.
And you would characterize him as a conservative.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, that's encouraging, Kevin, and I hope you're right. I honestly do. I've taken some issue with some of the things he said in the past, but I honestly do. I hope that he's his own man. He does what he believes is right. That's really all we could ask of any politician, and he doesn't feel beholden to any organization or movement, especially if it means betraying his own values.
Yeah, no, if he, people are watching. I'm watching.
Yeah.
And if he governs consistent with who he is, I think he could probably be an 8-year governor, a 2-term governor, and we might see what a real unity ticket looks like next time around.
Kevin Clarkson, I appreciate so much your time.
Yeah, take care, bye.
Thank you. 814, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie. 14, Fagan, Biegel, and Bonnie.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Well, howdy, I'm Nick Worthington, Ford Giant, Worthington Ford.
Home of over 1,000 vehicles, and we're 4x4 headquarters.
And folks, we've got hundreds of beautiful new Fords on the lot with giant factory rebates and some huge dealer discounts.
And lots of great used vehicles, too, all certified, all under warranty. Take a look.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $10,900. Here's a Chevy Equinox, just $14,900.
Here's a Subaru Legacy GT for just $15,900. And a Subaru Impreza, also $15,900.
It's 4x4 headquarters, Worthington Ford, with hundreds of vehicles to choose from, and you can make no payments until next year.
Plus, get a big bonus for your trade-in. We need your trade-in, so push, pull, or drag it in, and you'll get top dollar.
Hurry on into Giant Worthington Ford.
1950 Gamble. 2012 Equinox Q2420. 08 Escape 137184B. 2013 Impreza Q1767. 09 Legacy 1440838. Certified by Worthington Ford. Unapproved credit subject to prior sale. See dealer for details. Ends 11/20/2014.
You know what was the #1 gift Alaskans sent to their relatives for Christmas last year? Well, if you said Alaska King Crab, you're right on. Last year, New Sagaya sent over 20,000 pounds of king crab to Alaskan friends and relatives outside. That's more than 10 tons. New Sagaya makes it so easy. For just $165, New Sagaya sends 5 pounds of extra large golden king crab legs anywhere in the continental United States. And that includes UPS next day air delivery. And New Sagaya does it right for you. The big crab legs and claws all boxed in a styrofoam box with dry ice and gel ice. It's guaranteed to arrive in perfect condition. But you'll want to avoid the rush as much as you can, so call right now. New Sagaya will program your delivery for whatever day you specify. Just call 1-800-764-1001. The King Crab Festival for just $165. From New Sagaya, 1-800-764-1001. Or order on the web from newsagaya.com.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
8:17 in the morning, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron. Our good friend Mike Daniels over at Country Financial. Huge presence here in Alaska, 13 locations, both in the Valley and in Anchorage. Mike Daniels and his country representatives are the very best in the state. When it comes to matters of financial planning, why not rely on their expertise? Why not rely on their wisdom? Here's what's going to happen. If you go see the country representative, 10 minutes into the meeting, you're going to realize, wow, I never thought of this. I never thought of that. Oh, I'm glad you told me this. I'm glad you told me that. Well worth your while. Give the folks at Country Financial a call. Here's the number, 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. Country is spelled
COUNTRY.
Interesting conversation with Kevin Clarkson, a local attorney, conservative guy. And he wrote an open letter to Bill Walker. They published it in the Alaska Dispatch News, saying, follow your convictions. Don't feel like you owe those who jumped on your bandwagon anything. And it is true. The Vince Beltramis and the Byron Malotts, those guys, they were never going to get close to power. So it's Walker who won. He was at the top of the ticket. They hitched their wagon to him. But Walker needs to be a man of conviction and do what he believes right for the state. I'm not convinced yet that what he believes is right for the state is right for the state. We'll see.
Yeah, it concerned me when I read that this comes from a friend of his who obviously is a little concerned that he's easily persuaded. Bill Walker is easily persuaded. That's what I got out of it.
I don't know if that's true. You know, when you align yourself with a movement, which is the left, most people, I think, would have trouble betraying that movement because every first-term governor will take a second term.
Maybe that was just my thought when Bill Walker did this unity ticket, that he's easily persuaded, and then he was going to be used.
He doesn't strike me as the easily persuaded type.
Yeah, I've never met him, so I can't.
Oh,
say.
you never have?
Mm-mm.
It's funny. I have a kind of a love-hate thing with him. I go in and, as I've known him for years, I've talked to him many times, had him at my luncheons, and I've always admired him. I've always disagreed with him on his approach to getting resources to market, which is a strong arming. We'll make the producers do what we want them to do, or we'll sue them and take our leases back. That doesn't seem like the most productive way. And that's what Sarah Palin's approach was also with ACES and AGEA. So I don't really think that works, but I do believe he's a sincere guy. He's dedicated his life to getting this gas pipeline, but not getting it in the way Sean Parnell would have gotten it. He wants the state to control the thing. And he wants the producers just to come along anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole movement is just blowing my mind.
The Backbone movement?
It's almost like we have a third party in Alaska.
Oh,
it's not
definitely.
the Libertarians.
No, you're definitely, it's the Envy Party.
Because Bill Walker, whenever he's run before and lost by quite a bit. And so
but he did pretty well.
I just discounted him. I never thought he'd be anything. But then he figured out to do this independent thing.
Yeah.
And
he's got a big
through the primary.
And this is because my old show, we used to get callers to Walker rights all the time. Very rabid people. Look, the Backbone. We do have three parties. We have the left.
Yes.
We have the Backbone people who just absolutely hate the oil industry.
And who would call themselves conservative.
Some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got, I think, what would be the conservatives.
Right.
And then you got the low information voters. That's basically the mix-up of the voters. Yeah. But the Backbone people are so rabid. When I drove back from California, the moment I hit Alaska border, I started seeing Bill Walker signs, and I saw them all the way to Anchorage.
Way back in, June?
Absolutely.
Wow.
People who support Bill Walker love Bill Walker, just like the Palin-istas, because it's us against them. The oil companies have been taking advantage of us. They're using us.
Yeah.
They're taking advantage of our resources. It's our oil. They're making all the money. We're getting jack. That mentality, that envy mentality, it's very similar to the 99 percenters in the rally they had. The corporations are getting all the money. The 1%'s getting all the wealth. We don't get anything. It's that envy. But the thing that's different about Bill Walker than his movement, I don't hear that coming from him. I don't hear that vitriolic envy preaching. He's not. He's very calm.
I thought you said you'd had heard him before.
No.
He was just at one of those rallies.
Walker, no, he's statesmanlike. I don't hear him saying, well, if you don't want to go to war with the oil industry, you're a shill of big oil and you're anti-Alaska. That's what his movement followers say all the time. It's like Eddie Burke will tell you that in a heartbeat. You're anti-Alaska if you don't want to go to war with the oil industry.
Well, that speaks well of his character then.
Bill Walker?
Mm-hmm.
Either that or he's very restrained and he's very diplomatic. But I tend to think that he believes that. He's just very guarded. I don't think he. A lot of the Backbone people, they just want to accuse you of hating Alaska if you don't want to shut down the oil industry.
When really, I feel like the money, we get a lot of money in from the oil industry. It just goes into silly places like the Department of Education, more and more money where we don't see it. We don't see the benefits of it.
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job. We've got what do we have now? $80 billion. That's pretty good, and a lot of that's a permanent fund. But I think we've done okay. I'm not one of these guys who think we've blown it all. The bumper sticker, Lord, give us another oil boom, and this time we won't squander it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've done pretty well.
I mean, you look around and there's lots of structure here in the state.
This state was
that even some lower 48 states don't have.
Look, before the oil industry came here, this state was a bunch of dirt roads.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Taj Mahal schools. We have very nice high roads.
But that's what I'm saying. Some of this money goes into places that the common person doesn't see it. Especially if we don't have kids in public school.
If you have children, I don't have a problem with building schools. I don't have a problem with building infrastructure. I'd like to see more roads and bridges.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
something that'll help everybody, not just a certain part of the people.
Yeah. Well, a good public education system helps everybody.
Yeah, but buildings don't.
Well, you want them in January, you want to meet at 10 or something?
Some of our most brilliant people came from one-room schoolhouses.
Yeah, so you want to jam them all in one
I want
room?
them to use chalkboards again. And
put them in just one cabin, like 60 people.
One teacher.
One teacher.
K through 12.
They just teach everything.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll help our economy.
Hey, my kids learn at the kitchen table, so.
So I don't know what's going to happen with Walker. It's going to be fascinating to watch. It's going to be fascinating to see how far Alice Rogoff and Tony Hopfinger go to cover for him and did not call him on his stuff. You know, if all he's got to do is sit there and smile, Governor Parnett's on the right path. We'll get the pipeline. All companies are always going to do is sit there and smile. We've got explosion on the North Slope. We're moving toward the pipeline more than we ever have. Just sit there and smile.
I just have to sit here and breathe deeply when I think about how the National Guard issue broke Sean Parnell. And that is really the reason he lost.
News
That's right. That's right. And so I have to sit here and really breathe deeply because my guy lost because of that. And that's it.
Because Alice Rogoff used her unlimited resources to be kingmaker.
I really think I really have a problem with that whole thing.
She did the same thing against Joe Miller with Lisa.
And that now you don't hear anything about it.
Alice Rogoff made a king out of Lisa Murkowski. Alice Rogoff made a king out of Bill Walker. She is an influence to be dealt with in this state.
Yeah, I guarantee you that if the election were next Tuesday, we'd be hearing 20 stories between now and then.
It's the most transparent thing I've ever seen. And I don't know how many Alaskans have caught on to it.
You know, they're still finding out. I saw where somebody yesterday had shared the story you talked about with the whole Alice Rogoff thing and your blog about it. So they're still sharing that and still finding out about it. Yes, yeah. And this is interesting.
We had a ton of people log on to that story, so I knew we made some impact with that. But we're going to watch her. You know, you don't get to come in here with your billions and tell us who we're going to vote for by trumping up charges and going after someone like you went after Joe Miller and you went after Sean Parnell. And the good news is this is the beauty of life. This is the beauty of life. People eventually are found out. Mm-hmm. She cannot come here and operate as kingmaker election after election after election because people are going to say, oh, look what the Dispatch News is doing again. They picked their candidate and look at all the negative stories about the candidate's opponent.
But they think they can. She thinks she can do
it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
And get away with it because that's an Obama kind of
and
thing
it was so
to do.
obvious. I thought they were pretty fair with Sullivan Begich.
Yeah.
You know, obviously that leaned a little bit toward Begich, but it wasn't near the hit job that with Parnell.
Well, Sullivan was so he towed the line.
Disciplined.
Yes. Yes, I will give you that.
Towed the line.
He towed the line and,
he was disciplined
stuck. He stuck to his message. You know, he talked about his record and he talked about the change.
And he understood the battle, and he was disciplined with his message. The complete opposite of what Joe Miller. Complete opposite of what Joe Miller did.
Well, I guess you like truth, so.
I do like truth.
You know, it's good to speak truth
Sullivan
too.
didn't lie.
No, he didn't lie, but well, I don't want to go there. I appreciate politicians who will say it like it is and speak truth without worrying about what their words are gonna, the effect their words are gonna have. And I know that I differ with Glenn on that. I think that's his beef with the Tea Party. He says, well, there's just some things you can't do, and I want to do it. I want to just get it out there and make some waves. And I think Glenn likes the safe route.
No, I think Glenn understands that compromise is what our founding fathers envisioned with our government. You have to be a compromiser.
Not to the point that we are compromising now.
No, well, we'll see. I mean, we haven't been in charge in a while with that, Bonnie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but now is when we're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out how far gone the Republican Party is.
And I've had people say, well, why didn't Joe Miller start with the state? Why didn't he start, smaller?
Right.
But
he did. He ran for borough mayor up there or something. He lost.
Oh, I didn't know.
He got smoked. He'll never win.
Oh.
He'll never win an election. Steak dinner.
Maybe he'll be a great radio broadcaster.
If Joe Miller wins an election, I'll buy you a big fancy steak.
You're on.
569-1080, 829. Paul Landis with GCI is next. 1080, 829. Paul Landis with GCI is next.
Don't just sit there. Give him a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. The company building the Valley Family Fun Center next to the Matsu Cinema has secured a loan. The Alaska Industrial Development Authority has agreed to loan $5.4 million for the local theme park. Construction is expected to start next spring. A couple and their 2 dogs were left homeless by a fast fire early Tuesday on East Pike Avenue off Bogart Road near Wasilla. The home burned to the ground. Flames spread into trees and put nearby vehicles at risk. And Anchorage Assembly members calling for the city to opt out of the commercial marijuana trade, take advantage of language in the recently passed ballot initiative that allows communities to prohibit businesses that sell marijuana. Finally, a former mayor of Anchorage is set to speak at the Palmer Public Library tonight. Rick Mystrom discuss his book, My Wonderful Life with Diabetes. Talk about how he learned to thrive. Type 1 form this evening. That's your Hot Talk News update.
Today will be mostly sunny with a high 38, and tonight partly cloudy, low 24. Sun and some clouds throughout the day tomorrow with a high 34 and a low tomorrow night of 25. Friday partial sunshine, high 36, then partly sunny Saturday with a high 33. Sunday clouds and sunshine, high 32. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Local news, weather, and the Dan Fagan Glen Biegel Show on Hot Talk. KOAN. Brought to you by Connect Country Liquor. With 4 convenient locations in the Valley and Talkeetna, you won't find a better selection.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There's new advice on how to prevent the leading cause of death among infants between 1 month and 1 year of age. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. The sofa is not a good choice for babies to sleep to prevent the risk of infant death syndrome, often referred to as SIDS. That's according to new research published in the journal Pediatrics. The study found this: babies who sleep on a couch are more likely to be placed on their side and share the surface with someone else. Both those things put the child at greater risk. Doctors don't know why some children develop SIDS, which only affects babies during the first year of life. When going to sleep, babies should always be placed on their backs, not their side, not their stomach. And sharing a room with your newborn is okay, but not a bed. Like sofas, bed sharing significantly increases a baby's risk for SIDS. The crib should also be free of soft items such as pillows, blankets, bumper pads, and toys. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Did you know up to 1 in 5 Americans will get the flu this year? Because less than half of us get vaccinated? You didn't know? That's okay. We do. Rite Aid has certified immunizing pharmacists at the ready to discuss your risks, answer your questions, and shield you from what you don't know. So get your flu shot, no appointment necessary, at Rite Aid today. With us, it's personal. Flu vaccines available while supplies last. Age restrictions apply in some states. See pharmacist for details.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-953-4036. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-953-4036. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-953-4036.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything. From auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Morning. Give him a call. 569-1080. KOA.
All right, 8:35 in the morning. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. Glen's off this morning. Bonnie Cameron in here on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming live, video and audio on danfagan.us. 569-1080. Happy to welcome here to the broadcast this morning Paul Landis, Senior Vice President.
You got it.
GCI. Have we met?
Have we met? We've met lots of times.
Have we?
Dan.
I apologize. Well, I know who you are. You're very well known, and I just couldn't remember if we had actually met face to face.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
And you told me a couple of times that I had a face for radio.
Oh, I did not.
Bad joke.
Thanks for coming in. How are you?
Good.
Good. So GCI now is the big sponsor for the shootout.
We are. We took it over this year, and it's kind of cool because we're also the technology partner for the new arena. And so while we are showcasing our technology, we have a store in the arena, we are also the premier sponsor of the new GCI Great Alaska Shootout.
You guys are doing everything now.
Well, we're trying.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, you got the TV station, you got your cable empire, you got your internet empire. You're part of the biggest sporting event, I suppose, of the year, maybe next to the Iditarod. You're really pumping it up here.
Well, we're trying to show the community that we care, and the new arena is, I don't know if you've been to it, but
I have not.
It's beautiful. There isn't a bad seat in the whole place. We're really trying to make this a new tradition. Thanksgiving weekend, you eat turkey, and there's not a whole lot else to do. And in Alaska and in Anchorage, going to the shootout, we're sort of saying is the new family event to do.
Well, I know Steve Cobb, former athletic director who since passed, told me that this event is so crucial to the athletic department at UAA. And I'm sure having a sponsor of your caliber is going to really be a big boost for the university.
Well, we are really trying to raise awareness. We're trying to say sports are important, that our kids are important, and us participating just sort of solidifies that.
There was a time, of course, when the shootout was much bigger than it is today, mainly because there wasn't much competition and we got more quality schools. Can we ever get back there?
I think that a lot of it is just making the community aware, for folks to realize that the tickets aren't very expensive. It's a great thing to do with your family. We're kicking it up a couple of notches in that we are giving prizes to all the kids that show up. They all get a basketball. We're through the course of the events, we are going to give away 1 million airline miles.
Wow.
We are
You didn't buy an airline too, did you?
Well, we partner with Alaska Airlines, and so we're going to do that as well as give away tech toys at every game. So smartphones, tablets, that kind of stuff.
I think the Alaska Aces figured out that sporting events really are about the kids. And if you can get kids saying, hey, let's go to the shootout, then you're going to get a lot of repeat people coming every year.
Well, and it is such a good family thing to go to. I think I'm going to go with my kids, actually. And we haven't been in years to the shootout. So hopefully it'll be coming back.
And they are good teams. I mean, yeah, at one point we were the only tournament that went on, but think about the opportunity and the size of our community. We should be able to fill the stadium and everybody have a lot of fun.
I know it had become such a tradition for Alaska families. Thanksgiving, a lot of families come home. A lot of family members come home. You go, you have your nice dinner, then you go to the shootout the next day or for the weekend, and we're going to get back there, you think?
That's the plan, and we are working hard to make that happen.
So sorry. I was just going to ask what the dates are again and
so
the teams that are coming up.
It starts next Tuesday, and it runs all the way through Saturday.
Okay. So the championship game will be probably Saturday night.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. And I do have a list of the teams that are here. So we'll obviously have the University of Alaska. We'll have Washington State, Pacific University, Colorado State, Mercer, Missouri State, Rice, and UC Santa Barbara.
Well, good.
And then for the women's division, we'll have UAA, Boise State, Long Beach State, and Yale.
Now, I would imagine with your abilities to broadcast, are we gonna see more access for the public? Are you going to be doing some live broadcasts on your cable stations or anything like that?
So I know that KTVA will be real involved,
Okay.
and we will do some, but we will not be actually broadcasting the games.
And ESPN's not coming back, as far as you know.
It's not ESPN, but I believe that it's NBC Sports.
Oh, is that
has
right?
it. So
CBS.
CBS. I'm
Okay.
sorry, CBS Sports.
Well,
yes. Good. So they have the rights at this point.
Well, that's a plus because it gets us some national exposure. I know CBS Sports doesn't quite get the audience that NBC does or ESPN does, but it's national exposure.
And how does the community get involved in this? Because when I was in high school, I think the cheerleading team would go, or the cheerleading squad would go and get involved and root for certain teams. How does the community get involved in this now?
So I think at this point, coming and watching the games, that's sort of the big opportunity. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned early, the tickets aren't very expensive.
Approximately.
So I think that they start at like $15.
Wow.
So just depends on the seats, but and they have family packages, so it's very inexpensive. And the tickets are for series, so you get to go to 2 games for that one ticket price.
Wow, that's great. And so they have like a whole where you can go to all of the games. Is that what you mean by family packages?
Well, you can get a family package for the entire event, okay, or you can buy individual tickets that are for 2 games.
Okay, because I know that I like to not be tied down to a certain day or time, and just we have a few hours here, let's go, and so
right,
that's
a lot of flexibility.
Good. Okay.
Now, as far as getting the more quality type teams, will your sponsorship help with that? Because I would imagine the cash infusion that would generate for the university would allow them to maybe recruit better teams, or is that not how it works?
So I don't know the specifics, but I know that Keith Hackett is very focused on reviving the shootout and making it be a signature again. So I know that he's working on the team rosters into the future, but that is sort of his deal.
So you don't know if the university offers the university offers other universities a certain amount of money to come up here, or is money involved at all?
I don't know. I can't answer that part.
Yeah.
I know though that he is working on future team rosters and what he can get into the outgoing years. I can tell you that being the sponsor and helping takes some of the pressure off of that side of it, so that he can go focus on that.
So you're the main sponsor.
We are.
There are other sponsors at different tiers?
There are lower level sponsors who are helping as well.
How much did you kick in?
Let's just say that it was significant, and it
was
$100. It was more than a couple hundred.
More than a couple hundred?
Yes.
Something that caught my attention though when I saw the ad for it was that it is at the new arena, and that piqued my interest. I want to go see
it.
It so it's a great
to go check out the
great reason.
We got to take a quick break. I'm so impressed with the quality of KTVA. It's just amazing. And I think a lot of people would share that sentiment. I'm going to ask you about that and other things that GCI is involved in. We got one more segment with you?
Sure.
Paul
Sounds
Anders,
good.
Senior Vice President, GCI, here in the studio with us. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, KOAN, KVNT, streaming live, video and audio on danfagan.us. Time currently 8:44.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
The traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. A C-Class from Mercedes-Benz.
You're on with Fagan and
847, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel, Bonnie Cameron, KOAN, KVNT, streaming live audio and video on danfagan.us. We're talking with Paul Landis, Senior Vice President with GCI. You know, I had Ron Duncan on my old show once. He's a very impressive fella. Is he still involved? Is he hands-on, or is he kind of just, you guys take over and give me a report every once in a while?
So Ron's our founder and CEO.
Right.
And yes, he is very hands-on. Ron is very passionate about what it is that we do, and he is very involved in our operation.
How should folks interpret GCI buying a television station? Does this mean that you're expanding? Does this mean that you're shifting your focus away from cable? How should we interpret the acquisition of KTVA?
So I think that it just gives us some more opportunity to bring, ultimately, more Alaska produced shows, more Alaska content, things like showing the Aces games, showing the Iditarod, those kinds of Alaska-based shows or events that ultimately we would like to broadcast for all of us in Alaska.
Well, I think it's great for the market. KTUU, of course, has dominated for so long, and it's just, you're going to know what's going on in your town, you're going to turn on Channel 2, but the product that you're putting on KTVA, and I know that you're not real directly involved with that, but it clearly rivals what Channel 2 is presenting. I still think it's going to be hard, though, to have it viewing. And people, Maria Downing, Jackie, that's all I've ever known. But if people do check out your station, I think that they would be very impressed, because the people that you've hired, I can tell you made a real investment. Not only just that the set is amazing, but the people who are actually on air there, they're seasoned. They have some experience, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
So we are sort of the inventors of competition in the state of Alaska in the telecom business, and that's our goal. We want to be competitive in all areas, and competition's good for all of us.
And talking about local news, I haven't watched a local news broadcast in 10 years, but I go to your website all the time, and if there's a story on there, I'll click it and watch it. Same with Channel 2. Are we eventually, Paul, do you think someday, and we're talking to Paul Landis, Senior Vice President with GCI, it'll all be web-based?
Well, that's always the big debate. At years ago, the whole concept that TV was going to go away and we would just watch everything over the web. I think that there has been a bit of a back step in terms of that whole perspective.
But my question is in particular to local news. I don't think you were ever going to do away with the primetime sitcom and the Blue Buds and all that. But to get your local news information, it's so much quicker just to go to the website than to sit through for a half hour, because most people don't care about an accident on 15th and Ingra, and you can get it right there, get out.
So that's great for short news snippets, but when you want to get the whole story, you want to see everything that's going on, it's still pretty hard to beat watching on your traditional television set.
Yeah, so you think it's here to stay?
I think it's here to stay.
What about the internet? You guys, I believe, my experience is you've got the fastest internet in the state. Is that right?
Well, we are continuing to improve our internet products and offerings, and we're going to be one of the first in the country to offer a full gig of internet service to our residential customers.
And what does that mean to the layperson?
So that means so fast that you'll have a difficult time with your equipment in your home, your computer, for example, being able to keep up with the internet speeds we can offer you.
So what's your fastest now?
250 megs.
Wow, so this would be 4 times as fast?
4 times as fast.
And what was your response when you had people go and say, what neighborhood are you in? Because I know I did that, and our whole neighborhood said, be sure and go on GCI's website and say where you are so we can get the D or whatever it is.
It's called RED.
Okay.
Yeah, RED.
Okay.
So you got... Yeah,
I did. It worked.
It did.
Good marketing.
So you had neighborhoods competing for the faster service?
We have neighborhoods that are competing with lists saying pick us first.
Oh.
And we have thousands and thousands of people who have expressed interest in pick my neighborhood. I want to go to a full gig.
Yeah, that competition of saying, oh, yeah, I'm the first one to get this.
Right.
I think that was brilliant.
Well, and Dan got that for us here for our we're broadcasting on YouTube, so we have the faster internet so we can broadcast in HD.
So we're 250 gig here, Brian?
Yep, we've got the fastest one.
And then is it going to be a lot more expensive to have the 1 gig?
So we actually took our fastest internet and took a price decrease.
Okay.
And the plan at this point is to keep the pricing where it is. Will that stay forever? I can't answer that part, but we're saying we're being very competitive with our pricing.
If we knew the senior vice president at GCI, do you think we could maybe get in front of the line for that 1 gig deal?
Dan, we can work a deal out.
Well, and I do have to say the customer service is what keeps people really going, and GCI's customer service is really, really good.
Oh, thanks.
I never have a problem, if I have a technical issue or a billing question, getting in. So
what's your stock selling for right now?
Last I looked this morning, it was about $12.
Okay. And it's been hovering around that for years? It was a little lower than that.
It was a little lower. It's actually gone up a little bit.
And the future of GCI, are you optimistic? Are you headed in the right direction? Are you bullish on GCI stock?
I can't answer the question about stock. I'm a senior vice president in the company. But am I bullish about GCI? And the answer to that question is yes. We're investing in the state of Alaska heavily. Yeah. We are growing our networks. We are focused on our customer service. We've hired about 100 more people in the last few months in customer service. Wow. So it's really an area of real intense focus.
Talking to Paul Landis, senior vice president at GCI, what's the fastest growing segment of your business?
So internet and wireless are the 2 fastest growing segments.
And your wireless network is your network, or do you use somebody else's?
It is our network.
It is.
Yes.
You have the infrastructure to it.
We do.
That's got to be expensive.
It is very capital intensive, but we are investing heavily in the wireless side of our business.
And how does your network compare to the Verizons and the AT&Ts and all those other guys out there?
We are in hundreds of locations that we are the only wireless provider.
Wow, so that's a major advantage. And that business is growing. That segment of what you do is growing.
That business is growing.
Yeah, so you're optimistic about that the most? Is that? I mean, are we gonna eventually see anything to replace wireless? No. With smartphones, the iPads, that's the future, right?
I think that's the future. I think that we'll see that continue to grow.
Yeah. I'm still not sure about the local news. You know, I remember I had lunch.
It's his business.
Well, it was.
Well, there you go.
I remember I had lunch with John Tracy about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and before he left Channel 2, he was looking at the demographics of the people who watch the local newscasts, and they're clearly dying off. And the crowd, even though I know you guys just made a killing with this last election, and I'm sure it's very profitable for you, but looking ahead, I just don't know that we're going to have a look. You know, I don't know. Do you watch local news ever?
I don't.
Do you guys? Do you ever? You do? You have to say that. Brian, do you ever watch local news?
KTVA.
You do. I stopped sitting down at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock because it's all there on the web.
Yeah.
Except I like to watch the more expanded story, and I like to see the people, and I like to watch the full story, and I like to see it on a big screen.
And see, I'm different from you, Dan, in that if I see a wreck, I'm looking for it on the news that night. I want to know what happened, who was involved, why it happened, that kind of thing. And so that's the only reason I'll sit down to watch the news.
Yeah. So. Well, it's exciting. I'm sure the folks at UAA are thrilled that GCI is now the sponsor of the Great Alaska Shootout. The event is held this Tuesday coming up.
Yes.
Through Saturday.
Yes.
Championship game Saturday night.
Correct.
And GCI will be all over the place. I'm assuming we'll see a GCI banner or two up.
Well, and you said you have a shop there. Or
I have a store there, so if you need a cell phone or a tablet or any kind of service, you can come and
I'll bet that's great for
we'll help you
kids.
out. It is.
Very convenient for them.
You know, there's no disputing you're doing some things right, because everyone I talk to about who use your internet, we use your fastest internet, and it's been the quality that we get, and Brian can testify to this. We stream video live every day for 3 hours, and it's just night and day. When we were on the slower internet, it was all gargly in the
fuzzy,
product,
yeah.
And now it's as clear as day, and it's made such a big difference just to us. And I know people love your internet cable, and then you've really stepped it up in the local news business with KTVA and the quality you're presenting there. So you guys are, I would imagine if there was any polling done, you'd be pretty favorable. I think people would have a good opinion of GCI, being local too.
Well, and we're trying to reinforce that by taking good care of customers and reinforcing with our employees that that's the most important thing we can do.
So where can we buy tickets for the shootout? You
go online to goseawolves.com and you can purchase your tickets there.
Okay.
Paul Landis, great seeing you.
Great seeing you guys.
Thanks for coming in. That's Paul Landis, Senior Vice President, GCI. All right, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday afternoon, 8:59. Afternoon, 8:59.